Your morning just got more interesting. Distilled and barrel-picked for your listening pleasure. Bo Bishop, a local sports media legend. What William T. Sherman was to the Union Army, he is to Northern College football. A husband, a father, and middling youth sports coach. He's friends with Central Ohio sporting royalty.
Talking to Ohio State Athletic Director Ross Bjorken. Coach Day walking on with us right now. Good to see you, buddy. Good buddy Austin Ward. My good buddy Tim May, the Tim May Show. The great Doug Lavery's joining us.
Hi, everybody. Dom Taberry here.
Oh, Reese came in and he handed me papers.
Yeah,
and then
it's a rundown.
And then he said, "You see that button? That's the only button you need to worry about. Don't touch. There's 8,000 buttons in front of me." Oh, I didn't know what he was talking about.
The one that says on.
We blew the budget on this imaging, and only two guys answered our ad on Craigslist. Ryan Baker and Eric Reeser. Act accordingly. You're now listening to Bishop and Friends.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years.
All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of the program. Bo and the boys with you for the next three. Pretty loaded up. We have coordinators. We have offensive line coaches. We have all sorts of things happening on the Buckeye side of things. Still waiting on the defensive coordinator hire. We will get into that coming up in about 27 minutes from right now. Busy night on the ice and the hardwood tonight. Continue to get you set for that. NBA trade deadline is today. A lot of action over the last 5 days. Obviously, the headliner over the weekend. We will get into that a little higher, lower. Your emails coming at 10 o'clock as well. So we got the old man off. He got on the flight. He's home. And thank goodness for everybody involved. We've survived the 7 days. I was thinking about him in regard to, well, I'll give you two. Here are two things. These are two actual things that happened during his visit. Two actual things. Do you remember, Reese, the last time he visited and he ate the peanut butter that was clearly labeled Buddy's peanut butter, do not eat?
Yes, and I don't think you told him.
I did not. I felt like you should just read the damn label.
Reading is super important.
Like, I know that he knows how to do that. So yesterday, I go out and he's sucking down a bagel, and sure enough, same peanut butter on the counter. So he's either trolling me and just, it don't matter. I can eat dog peanut butter if I want. I don't know. He's 76, so it's all in play. So that happened. Ran it back. Dog peanut butter. That happened. That isn't even that shocking. That's very much in play.
Wow, there's more shocking things than that.
Yeah. So Tuesday, what the hell night was it? Was it Monday night? It was because NBC. Yeah, Monday night. Monday night, we're like everyone's kind of. I had practice, and so we practiced till 9, and then I got home, and he's in the basement, and on the TV we were watching sports and stuff, and go down there, and he's watching something on PBS that is like, quite honestly, it felt a little bit like Downton Abbey. Like some sort of an English talking in rooms show. And I go, what are you doing here? What do you got going on here? Oh, this is All Creatures Great and Small. I think it's the best show on television. Okay. I've heard of the books. Certainly heard of the books. I did not have that on the bingo card. Typically, when I would go downstairs when he visits, you end up with some sort of a rodeo situation that's on the rural TV, RFD. I don't know if you guys have RFD on your cable, but he does, and so do I. And so he'll look for either rural TV or RFD, and he gets to suck down a little bit of rodeo. Is usually so. English period drama, I did not have on the bingo card at all, and that was far more shocking than eating Buddy's peanut butter. That was very much on brand. But we survived. I was thinking about him more than I need to, in juxtaposed to the idea that the Super Bowl is 4 days away. My first Super Bowl memory was 85. As I've said many times, when you grew up where I did, you just picked the teams that were good. You weren't going to a game. Seattle was 8 hours, Denver was 12. Minneapolis was 16. You weren't driving to a game. The only thing close to us was Calgary, so you could go see the Flames, but that's it. Everything else was was just not there. So you just like the teams that were good. So a lot of my buddies were Cowboys fans. A lot were 49ers fans. A lot of Raiders fans, certainly some Steelers fans, but that kind of died out by that point. It was really Cowboys, 49ers, and Raiders were predominantly the teams. And so the first thing I remember was seeing the Super Bowl Shuffle. I remember seeing that. There was a show that used to air on like Friday nights, half hour, and my mom would record it for me so that I could see like music videos because we didn't have cable. So she would do this. And at the end of this 30-minute was the Super Bowl Shuffle. I was blown away. Coolest thing I've ever seen. You got to be kidding me. Like, these guys are rapping, and they're great, and the quarterback's wearing sunglasses. Like, how is this not the coolest thing ever? So I'm in. I'm Bears. Let's go. Bears fan from that point. So you start paying attention to those Bears, and all of a sudden, as we all know now, they were quite good. Quite good, and probably the most personality-filled team maybe in the history of sports, quite honestly. So fast forward to the Super Bowl. I don't remember ever going to Super Bowl parties as a kid, except for this one. We went to this one Super Bowl party. So we go to the Super Bowl party. It was the rare instance in those days where the home that we went to watch it had 2 TVs. I remember this vividly. Like, nobody had 2 TVs in 1985. Nobody. And this house had 2. Spectacular. So we walk in, and everybody is rooting for the Patriots. All of them. Why? Well, because the Bears are loud and brash, and who the heck wants to root for that? Reminds you a little bit of Kansas City, right? Like, who wants to root for that? Everybody wants to root for the underdog. And the Patriots were monster underdogs. And so I remember, like, my dad even rooting loudly for the Patriots. And I remember being, like, 7 years old and going like, hey, dude, like, I don't know, can I get a little bit of support amongst all these animals? No, none. So we went upstairs, and if that Super Bowl, the Patriots scored first, which was shocking that they scored first, and then it was an avalanche, and it was done, and the Bears won by 1 billion. At the time, it was the largest margin in Super Bowl history. It was since usurped the Niners, I think, over the Broncos, I believe. But that was my Super Bowl memory. So it all came rushing back with eating the dog's peanut butter, watching British soap operas on PBS, and then I think felt like a soap opera to me. And then I thought back to my first Super Bowl moment. He didn't have my back then. No back. None. My mom went up with me. I think Tuck might have too. My middle brother, he might have been up. He would have been 4, 5 at that time. But needless to say, we got the last laugh with the Bears winning. What were your guys' first Super Bowl memories?
It was the greatest show on turf, beating the Titans by a yard.
God, you're young.
Yeah. And then I was in 7th grade when the Janet Jackson, Justin Timberlake Super Bowl halftime show happened. So I remember that more so than any other games in my youth.
I bet you did.
Yep.
7th grade's pretty peak to remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Were you at 7th grade? Were you alert enough to know what had happened?
Not exactly, but I thought to myself, I'd like to see that again. And because of the internet, you could.
You could. Yes, you could. You could see that. Who was in that Super Bowl? Who were the 2 teams playing?
Was the Panthers part of it?
Was that Panthers?
Carolina and New England?
Carolina, New England, maybe? Could have been. Bake?
So, Bo, kind of similar to you. I remember the Super Bowl Shuffle, and I remember Refrigerator Perry. So I remember that Super Bowl very well, and the Super Bowl before that with the Dolphins and the 49ers, because I used to go to the library all the time and get the VHS on those Super Bowls. So I remember those both very vividly, but I don't really remember watching them. Like, I remember the Super Bowl Shuffle, and I remember Refrigerator Perry. The next year is when I really remember watching the Super Bowl, because, and I don't remember if it was the fumble or the drive that knocked the Browns out that year, but the Broncos going to the Super Bowl, and I remember hating John Elway and the Broncos so much because they kept Bernie and my Browns out of the Super Bowl. So I remember that with Phil Simms and Otis Anderson and those Giants teams, and I remember rooting for the Giants so hard because the Browns should have been there playing them.
That's that would have been the drive. 86.
The drive was first, and then the fumble the next year.
Came the next year out in Denver. That one was in Cleveland. I got, there was so much. Everybody wanted you to be a Broncos fan where I grew up. everybody wanted you to be, and they would sell you, well, it's the closest team. It wasn't very bloody close. Like, it was 12 plus hours to Denver, okay? That'd be like somebody telling somebody growing up here, man, you guys, you really ought to be a Jacksonville Jaguars fan. They're really close. I mean, that's the type of drive you're dealing with to be able to get to Denver. So it wasn't like you were ever going to a game. Needless to say, we've had 3 great Super Bowls. The last 3 have all been great. While I understand there is a malaise over these 2 teams, I get it entirely. I think a lot of us do. You're tired of seeing the same stuff. You're all going to watch. We're all going to watch on Sunday. And if history tells us anything, it's going to be a great game because we haven't had a blowout in a while at the Super Bowl. So hopefully you get a great game on Sunday. And, of course, Rothman and Ice will be there on Radio Row the rest of this week to continue to get you set for that. As I mentioned, absolutely loaded. Speaking of Rothman and Ice, as I mentioned, they will be here today, noon to 3, the Fans YouTube channel to talk to Browns. Denzel Ward at 1 o'clock. You heard his comments yesterday. AR's Big J journalist. They're going to get you're going to get pressed a little bit, Denzel. It's Rothman and Ice live from Radio Row, presented by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare. Lots to get to. As I mentioned, busy night on the hardwood, busy night on the ice. We have a coordinator on the offensive side. We have an offensive line coach. We have your emails as well. A little bit of higher, lower, loaded up on a Thursday edition. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
Big voice guy here to remind you that you're listening to The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Okay, thanks. I have 3 more seconds. Bye-bye.
Everyone deserves a fast and reliable connection. One that helps better their everyday through the things they value most. Friends and family, education and career. A connection that opens pathways to opportunity and builds roads to a better future. At Spectrum, we're committed to delivering just that every single day. Because with the right connection, anything is possible. That's Life Unlimited. That's Spectrum.
I'm Leslie from Pella Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
At Pella, we use the newest technology to show you exactly how new windows would look on your home.
Well, we keep it simple at our window place. We use a number 2 pencil to draw what your house will look like with our new windows. See?
Oh yeah, that definitely looks like a number 2.
Thank you, Leslie. Wait, I see what you did there.
Get the windows that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
It's been a great run. Care Heating and Cooling has achieved goals I could only imagine 30 years ago. But now it's time for the next generation to take over. This is Mike Weens, now the retired founder of Care Heating and Cooling with my sons, Dennis and Ryan.
Dad, I remember you saying that a family business should reflect family values, that a customer deserves to be treated with kindness and compassion.
And those values will never change. The reputation you built for being fair and honest is our greatest asset.
In fact, in 2024, Care was awarded a BBB Torch Award for Ethics and named the Lennox Partner of the Year.
You don't earn those awards by leaving cat toys behind. It's an honor to continue serving Central Ohio as a locally owned, family-run business.
So, whether you need a tune-up, repair, or just honest advice, Care is here for you.
Call Care Heating and Cooling at 1-800-COOLING or schedule an appointment online at careheatingandcooling.com. When you need a company you can trust.
Breaking never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. T&Cs apply.
Hi, I'm Bob Capace for Worthington Jewelers. Valentine's Day is upon us. Don't be a loser and forget again this year. Here at Worthington Jewelers, my store, I'm Bob Capace. We're giving you 35% off 14-karat gold and diamond jewelry. And how about 20% off sterling silver jewelry? We have something for every budget. Shop local and ask for me. Bob Capace. Worthington Jewelers on High Street in Worthington, worthingtonjewelers.com.
Rothman and Ice are headed to the Big Easy for the football game that we're not allowed legally to say the name of.
Sponsored by Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Listen on The Fan. Watch it on the tube. Do it.
Ohio has over 920,000 diabetics. If you are a diabetic, take a step in the right direction by having your feet checked routinely by a podiatric physician, the most qualified doctors to care for your feet. Adding a podiatrist to your healthcare team can help you better manage the effects of diabetes on your feet. Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association podiatric physicians are located throughout the state. For more information or to find a member of the Ohio Foot and Ankle Medical Association near you, visit ohiofoot.org.
And now, Public Education Matters with Ohio Education Association President Scott Damaro.
Black history is American history, and when we have honest conversations with our students about our history, the good and the bad, we can pave the way to make a better future for everyone. This Black History Month, let's lift up our students' freedom to learn and come together to celebrate the many people who have shaped our communities.
Public Education Matters, brought to you by the Ohio Education Association.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Time now to check in on that weather report. Today, looking at some sunshine this afternoon, high 47. Partly cloudy tonight, low 28. Sunshine on your Friday, high 37. A rain-snow mix expected by Saturday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
An ex-jock and a very puffy, smooth-faced man. These are the first voices you should hear. Morning Juice. Your wake-up service.
Weekday mornings from 6 to 9.
The Fan. If you love a good pie analogy,
think of the cap as a pie. And once you take out one piece, there's less left for the next guy.
Then this is the radio show for you. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
I suppose look, you got the hockey tonight, you got the hoops tonight, both at 7 o'clock. They go head to head. We'll get into those briefly in just a second. I suppose if you're Kevin McGuff at Ohio State on the women's side of things, they go out to Los Angeles. They get the twofer. They get number 1 UCLA last night, and then they get USC on Saturday night. That's a 9 o'clock tip on that one. Is that one on national television? Did I see that right?
Yeah, it's Big Boy Fox.
Wow, that's awesome. Listen, women's basketball rates. It just does. I mean, it absolutely rates. It's been building towards this for a while, but especially women's college basketball rates and WNBA games with Caitlin Clark really rate. It's just the reality of it. He's probably to the point, though, where, and this is one regular season game, but the type of talent that he consistently brings in, he's probably due for Final Four, play for a national title. That's probably the thing. They have been great for so long, and this is one game on a Wednesday night out on the West Coast. They kind of got ran away from in the fourth quarter, and that's the way that this thing kind of goes. But he's probably to the point where, and I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't know if you could do it. I didn't know if you could build a national women's power here. But he's on the precipice of that and has been for a long time. It's really save for the football program, the most consistent program up there in terms of the ones that you pay most attention to. They got 36, so I don't pay attention to all of them. But in terms of the ones that cross over into our hemisphere from time to time, this is the one that is the most consistent. So it stinks to lose, but you get USC on Saturday night, and that'll be a lot of fun. And hopefully you have a team that can make a run in March. But it does feel like that's kind of the only thing that they're missing.
Yeah, I was listening last night. Matty Andrews was on the call there, and this was after the game went final, like that Ohio State hadn't beaten a top-ranked team in like the past 25 years.
Yeah.
So it's been a while for the number 1 team in the country to fall to the Buckeyes. Who, look, it was like it was 44 all, at the beginning of the fourth quarter. So what Ohio State was doing was working. They even got out to a good start. UCLA is just a juggernaut this year. They got that tall woman from Stanford, I think was transferred, whose name's escaping me, but she was all over the place.
Lauren Betts.
They're the standard. They gave USC, or they gave South Carolina their only blemish on the season. So for Ohio State, it's now Juju Watkins and the USC Trojans Saturday night. So they're both, right there in terms of 2 and 3 in the Big Ten standings. You don't want to you want to get that type of a win over a top-ranked team, but boy, they fought their asses off for 4 quarters.
And Reese, you mentioned it was a tie game. They lose by 13, and they were outscored by 11 in the fourth quarter. They kept it close, well, not shooting the basketball well at all. Under 30% from the field, 16.7% from three. So they kept it close against a very good UCLA team, and give UCLA credit for the defense, but they did not shoot the basketball well at all.
Yeah, 2 years ago, Elite Eight. Last year, out in the second round, out in the Sweet 16. The year before that, so this is Final Four type stuff. You're due for a run like that into March, and I think that's probably the next thing they just need to kind of check off their list a little bit. Big one for the Buckeye basketball on the men's side tonight. They get Maryland at home. This is the rare instance where, especially with the new television partners, where the men's basketball team goes head-to-head with the Blue Jackets. Blue Jackets get Utah tonight at 7 o'clock. We will carry Ohio State, Maryland. Fan pregame show starts at 6 on that. If you want to watch it, it's on FS1. This is one of those ones you need to get if you're Jake and if you're the basketball program. You had a chance at Illinois over the weekend, and Illinois went on that big run in the second half, late in the second half, that kind of allowed them to pull away. But if you want to be, and you know they do, how desperately they want to be a playoff team. They figured things out. They got a tight rotation now. Everything's trending in the right direction, but you do need to win games like the one tonight against Maryland. This is one of those games that you need, and they've played an incredibly tough schedule. They get a lot of credit for that in terms of where they're rated, but this is a ranked team in your barn. There's Maryland 17-5 overall, 7-4 in the league. Right now, you're under 500 in Big Ten play, so you can't drift too big of a hole there at 5-6. My hunch is you need to be. Wow, they're smack dab on the bubble.
Yep.
You either need to be. I think you need to be a game ahead of up above 500 in conference play to really solidify it. The stretch of games here taking us over the next couple of weeks: Maryland tonight, at Nebraska on the 9th, and then Washington here, Michigan here, Northwestern here. So that's your 5 games. Probably need to go bare minimum 3-2 in that 5-game stretch. I'd like to say 4-1. 4-1 would put you in a pretty sweet spot. That'd get you to 9-7 in the league and give you a little bit of cushion heading into that West Coast trip. And you go at UCLA, at USC, and then you close with Nebraska and Indiana. I think, to me, do they have some updated? Let's see if they have some updated bracketology. I'm curious I'm sure they're just smack dab on it. Lenardi did it 2 days ago. His are usually pretty good. He has us last 4 buys at the moment.
So that's in Dayton
State,
or
Vandy and Georgia. I would say that means
no. That
last
means
4 buys would mean that you're not in Dayton.
Yeah, you're not in the play-in if you get that.
Yeah, so that probably means you're like an 11 seed.
Which is, I believe, in his previous 1 or 2 before, he had Ohio State actually in a play-in game of 11 seeds against North Carolina then. So he's actually bumped Ohio State up a little bit.
He's got us at 10 against UConn and Milwaukee. And then if you win, you play Iowa State. So one overnight bag will be enough. That's brutal. Play the 2-time defending national champs, and then if you win, you get a date with Iowa State, they'll straight punch you in the mouth, is what they'll do. So yeah, you need to make a little hay here, and you need to stack some wins, and hopefully they can. Hopefully they can take care of some business, win 4 out of the next 5, and put themselves in a good position heading into that last stretch of games. Go ahead, Vic.
Bo, it would be nice to see the players, come out tonight with a little bit, because last time when you went to Maryland, you got embarrassed. You got beat by about 25 points. So it would be nice if you see these guys come out from the start tonight with a little bit of passion, a little bit of fire.
It's a get your mojo back game. You know, that 9-0 run at Illinois basically put the game away for the Illini. Like even Jake Diebler talked about it. It was the fans took over, for the Illini there in a game that they just couldn't get their composure late, lost it. You get off to a hot start, and you play a complimentary 2 halves about 40 minutes, and then you start feeling good, and you can stack some of those wins and move yourself firmly into the tournament.
You think about the 2 guards and Royal, like the 3 of them, what's the number? 50 some and a half, 50 and a half out of them, 3. That's kind of the minimum requirement.
It's what you need right now.
I mean, they those three carry it offensively, and if they do, you got a shot. Jackets back at home after the long road trip. They are a 7:00 puck drop against the Utah Hockey Club. It feels like they're, by the way, an update on that. It feels like they're moving toward Mammoth for Utah. So we'll see. They had a couple. It seems like the Wasatch were out. Three sweaters were released. One Mammoth, one Outlaw, and then one that was Hockey Club with what looked like a Yeti on it. And maybe they go that way and just stay away from the Yeti name and try to avoid it in that sense. But obviously they put a lot of work in on Yeti, and we're hoping they'd be able to be the Yeti. And then that was pulled away.
Yeah, when the PTO denied their trademark request, then they did the fan vote. Like they'll do a final fan vote for Mammoth, Wasatch, and Hockey Club. Do you feel like ownership has it figured out which one they're going to go with?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think if there's a fan vote, it's worth not much, quite honestly.
I guess the Yeti could ride the Mammoth.
Decision.
But you got, like they know. They have everything kind of mocked up in directions that they want to go. But
I think they were banking that they'd be the Yeti. I do. I think they were locked in that they'd be the Yeti, and then that they couldn't make that work, and so now they got to kind of pivot because the other three all look exactly the same. They just have a different logo. So we'll see, and we'll have more on that matchup. Who's in, who's out? Kind of the injury report coming up with a little bit of Shelley time at 11:30. 2 minutes from right now, Ohio State has a new offensive staff. It is in place. There are familiar places. Nothing official yet, but multiple reports. We will get into that and what we expect Brian Hartline's role as play caller to be. That's coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Being young with unlimited energy to burn. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have. Think it could be lower testosterone? What do you mean? All guys lose their edge when they turn 40. The body has less testosterone. That's why I take Nugenix Total T. I've heard about Nugenix. That really works? Since I started taking Nugenix, I'm lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. I feel more energized at work. It's even spiced up things between me and the missus. Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try? Yep, send a text. It's that easy.
Text GRIT to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T. It's the #1 selling testosterone-boosting brand at GNC and Walmart. Do it now, and they'll also send you a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, their newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text GRIT to 42424. That's GRIT to 42424.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk to you about your sex drive, because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction. And if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating your low testosterone could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back the flame and desire that is so important when you love someone. So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Tri-State Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
What's up?
What's up, man? What's up with you?
Sponsored by High Bank Distillery, home of the best blended whiskey in America. Grab a bottle or dine in at their 3 restaurant locations, Grandview, Gahanna, and now in Westerville. Drink local. Drink High Bank.
All right, here's what's up on a Thursday edition. Still nothing official from Ohio State, but multiple reports. Honestly, the first I saw of it was Buckeye Scoop reporting that Brian Hartline would be the new offensive coordinator at Ohio State. They had it a couple of days ago. A couple of other folks had reported this yesterday. Matt Zenitz of CBS Sports and ESPN's Adam Rittenberg also reporting that Ohio State is set to promote Brian Hartline as primary offensive coordinator, replacing Chip Kelly. And will have him handle play calling duties. In addition to Brian Hartline getting that that promotion to play caller, and we'll have a lot to say on that in just a second. Also reporting that Billy Fessler, who was a coaching assistant with Ohio State last season after serving as an offensive coordinator at UCLA and Akron, played quarterback at Penn State from 14 to 17. He will elevate to quarterback coach. So Fessler will be the quarterback coach. Hartline, who's been the co-offensive coordinator, will be the offensive coordinator / play caller. And then in addition to that, and this was a name that I did not see, former Virginia Tech offensive coordinator Tyler Bowen will be the Buckeyes' new offensive line coach. Now, Bowen previously coached offensive lines at Fordham in Maryland, has primarily coached tight ends since. He held the role at Penn State from 18 to 19 and with the Jaguars before that. Bowen then moved to quarterbacks in 2023. He's been an offensive coordinator before as well. We are still waiting on the defensive side of things. I'll tell you this. The headliner here is obviously going to be Brian Hartline, and it's going to be calling of the plays. So a couple of years ago, we went all the way through spring after Brian had been promoted and said, well, are you going to give up play calling? Is Brian going to do this? And Brian called some plays in the spring game, and there was kind of this build that he had towards this end. Here's what I know about Brian Hartline. Wildly ambitious, probably the best position coach recruiter in college football over the last decade. A guy who paid his dues, a guy who studied at the feet of Ryan Day for many years, was originally here under Urban as a GA, and then under Ryan Day for many years. And then last year got a 1-year football play calling apprenticeship with Chip Kelly. So if anybody is prepared to do a job like this, it's Brian. Now, what I think will be fascinating is it is one thing for you to be in Ryan Day's position and hand over the reason you got the job. Let's not mince words. The reason Ryan Day got the job as head coach at Ohio State is he is a brilliant play caller and a brilliant schemer. That's why I got the job, right? That's why when you hear Louis Riddick talk for years, if he ever got a general manager job, he'd hire Ryan Day. That's why. So it's one thing to stop doing what got you where you are and hand it over to a guy who's your mentor, who taught you everything you know, who you trust as much as anybody who's not in your family. That's one thing. This is something else. Now, Brian has been in the mix for a long time, and I think he's more than ready for this type of job. But there is a rhythm to it. There is. And there is a feel for it. And Ryan will still have a heavy hand. I mean, he's on the headset all season, so it's not like he's not going to be able to weigh in on these things. But I also think you can do these type of things offensively after you win a national championship. This is that grace period.
It's the best time.
Yeah. Brian can learn on the job a little bit. You're going to have a redshirt freshman quarterback or sophomore, however they want to qualify Julian saying. So you're going to have that in position, and there's going to be a little bit of a grace period with this football team next year. And if we learned anything in the 12-team playoff, it's that you can have that. We didn't know that you could have that. We didn't know how it would all work. You can have that now. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a learning curve for this football team and for this staff, and I think Brian's going to be able to kind of learn on the job a little bit more than if last season didn't end with a national championship.
Yeah, the right move at the right time. I don't think the idea that Billy Fessler getting shouted out by Will Howard in his thank you video, I think that's worth noting as well. Tyler Bowen also comes in with offensive coordinator experience from his time at Virginia Tech. So I think that all of that connects to where you've got three guys with headsets that have called plays before in situation. I mean, it is very interesting to see how that'll all kind of take shape before that August 30th game against Texas. Good news, you have a lot of time. Bad news, that's your first real test to see how all of this is going to go. But there's so much familiarity there that I think everybody's in the best possible position considering how late Chip left for Las Vegas.
I'm actually kind of surprised by this news. I thought that they would I thought that they would bring in somebody to help out Brian Hartline this year with somebody with head coaching experience that could help Ryan as well, kind of like they did with Chip. This is a very, very, very young offensive staff now, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. But only one coach on the offensive side of the ball over the age of 38, Stephen Means tweeting that out. I just thought that they would get somebody with a little more experience in there and have Brian learn a little more. But I'm sure Brian worked hand in hand diligently with Chip last year, learning as much as he could from him. So you got to trust that Ryan Day knows what he's doing here and making the right move. I'm just surprised by it.
I don't think this does not happen if you don't win a national title. These three hires.
Right.
You win a national title, and at that point, you have enough currency, you have enough good stuff in the bank that you can take a calculated gamble. And this is that. I mean, it's calculated. Like, Brian is incredibly ambitious, incredibly bright. Like I said, I think he's the best position recruiter in all of college football over the last decade or so. And so now this is just one more thing. But I also see it from B. Hart's standpoint, right? Like, at some point, he wants to take that next step as a coach, and this is that next step. Like, play calling, that's next. That's the next thing. He's done about all else that you can do. I mean, he interviewed for the West Virginia job. So, we want to keep him around. You want him to be on your sidelines for his career. Who knows what his ambition is? Does he want to be a head coach somewhere at some point? Most of these guys do. But at least this allows him to grow in the job. And he's been around for a while, and he's learned at the feet of two of the very best in Ryan and Chip. And so then, and not just that, I mean, going back to Kevin Wilson, and he's been around some of the brightest some of the brightest offensive minds you're going to find. So now it's just this next step for him. But Bake, I think you make a good point, and it's important to remember that in previous instances where Ryan has had to go hire these big type of jobs, you think about Mattson, you think about Jim Knowles, you think about Chip, he's bringing in veteran guys with a lot of experience. So one of the brilliant things about leadership is knowing what you don't know. And I think early in his tenure, his first time being a head coach, his early years, he looked around and said, I need some guys in here who have done this. And he went and got them. But now he's a national champion head coach. He knows what he doesn't know, and he knows what he does. And now he's in a different spot, and so now he can bring on young guys with energy, and they can have a little bit of a learning curve. No one here, they lose to Texas in the opener next year. No one here is going to be like, oh, run them out of town. Like, you're good.
The only pushback I would have on that is with things always changing in college football right now, and Ryan having to worry about so much other stuff that's not on the field. I just think it would be very beneficial to have someone that's been the head coach before and have that experience that can help out with that stuff when Ryan's maybe his time is taken away from what's going on the football field. That's my only thing with that. But listen, I get it. If you've got the young, bright minds and they're the right minds, you're probably going to be okay.
Again, best time for Ryan to do this, like with you mentioning everybody's age, only one above the age of 38, and that's the head coach in terms of the offensive side of the football. But with this calendar having the season end on January 20th, everybody who you might have considered probably has a job lined up.
Well, the other thing I think is the old heads, like the guys with the head coaching experience, how many of them, there's two other factors to this. Number one, how many folks who have a bunch of experience want to get back into college football if they're not in it already? Probably not many. It's not a great thing right now. It's not. The other thing here is, from a financial standpoint, how much could you have paid for coordinators? They've got a lot of money going out, right? So this allows for a little bit of a different salary structure than what it could have been had it been somebody with a ton of experience coming back. So there's multiple layers to it. I think in the end, I'm really happy for Brian. We'll see when it's official. We'll see what happens on the defensive side with defensive coordinator. But Ryan was obviously very comfortable with that triumvirate in those positions and bringing young guys along. And I think that there is a learning curve here that will be allowed based on the fact that you won a national championship a couple weeks ago. So that's probably how this thing. Who knows what the timetable is? Still nothing official. My hunch is maybe they'll wait till they're all done before they announce them and make it official all in one release. We'll see. We're still waiting on the defensive coordinator, obviously. The NBA trade deadline is today. It has been a banger already. Will this all help the association in its battle for attention and eyeballs? Among the conversations we will get into next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
All the 10 TV people come over to our side of the building to take a deuce. That should tell you something about how we operate. The Fan. Get Eco.
ECO. Aaron, look what I invented.
Jerry, you're wearing a cape.
Get Eco.
ECO. What is it that you promise our customers, Aaron?
We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO. Do you know who does that, Aaron?
We do?
Superheroes do that, Aaron. Superheroes!
I'm guessing you make capes for everyone?
That's right. Every plumber, electrician, and HVAC technician. But I'm not done, Aaron. I'm not done.
Get Eco.
ECO. Now I'm inventing jetpacks so we can fly to the rescue like proper superheroes. Now say your line again.
We come through for you when you need us to?
No, say it like this. We come through for you when you need us to.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Jerry.
Yeah, Aaron?
How about we put those capes in the closet until you get the jetpacks perfected?
We'll look right when we take flight.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco. Plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians. GetEco.com.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. The best time of the year for football is finally here. The big game has arrived, and fans are excited to see you'll be hoisting the trophy in New Orleans. You can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Check out their big game giveaway promo for your chance at $1 million in prizes. 25 winners will walk away with $10K in cash. 7,500 winners will get $100 in bonus bets. No deposit or bet required. Opt in today in the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Big game party? Save big with Hothead Burritos super online catering discount. Bowls, burritos, tacos. Your guests will have a blast creating their own with choices for groups of 10 or more. Plan your menu now for Sunday's game at hotheadburritos.com.
Regenerative treatments for joint pain are creating lots of excitement in the orthopedic community. QC Kinetics Medical Director Dr. Ray Tessner recalls a recent conversation with one of the country's most acclaimed orthopedic doctors.
He said, when you and I are young, the arthroscope was a quantum leap in treating orthopedic problems. I think regenerative medicine is the new arthroscope.
Surgery is no longer the go-to solution for chronic joint pain in your knees, hips, shoulder, or back. QC Kinetics is leading the next quantum leap. All-natural regenerative treatments that provide relief and mobility.
I think one of the tenets of being a good physician is the old saying of do no harm. That's what I enjoy about this form of treatment is there's very little chance that we're going to cause harm, and that's refreshing to me to be able to eliminate the dangers that can come sometimes with surgeries.
Book your free consultation today in Dublin or Gahanna. Call 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. Or go to qckinetics.com/Columbus.
Get your furnace fixed fast. Call Care Heating and Cooling, 1-800-COOLING.
Jake Diebler's Buckeyes are back at the shot for a Big Ten battle with Maryland.
Live fan coverage starts Thursday at 6 with the tip at 7.
Every game, every season. Proud to be your flagship home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $200-300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If
you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code BUY to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code BUY for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Carpenter Heating, Cooling, Plumbing, and Electric, and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep your home comfortable. The Fan.
If you say something with enough confidence, it must be true. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
The folks that, no matter what, of the fringe sports, all right? So the main sports in this country that you pay attention to, it's football. Football's it. So then everybody else is fighting for third after the NFL and college football. They're all fighting for the same kind of attention. And the folks that cover those things, whether it's hockey or baseball or basketball, they are so locked into the minutia of it that sometimes I find it off-putting. That like, oh, well, you're just not smart enough to understand usage rate. I think I do. I think I do understand usage rate. I think most of us do. So they all kind of have their corner of the sports talkosphere that is hyper focused on the minutia of the sport, and the NBA can be the most annoying of it for me at times, from the standpoint of making the biggest deal out of role players switching teams or role player production. All of that to be said, I do think they have the best trade deadline. The NBA official trade deadline is today. There's been some bangers already. I mean, Luka Doncic has been traded. Everybody knows who he is. Last night, the Miami Heat finalized a deal to send Jimmy Butler to Golden State. That happened. That happened after Kevin Durant said no on a return. Did you see this last night? The Warriors were going after Durant hard, and Durant said, I don't want to play in Golden State. How must he hate Curry and Kerr?
Oh, Draymond was what I was thinking.
But I thought they made amends.
I don't think you can ever wrong KD and then make amends like that.
He's Arya Stark. He's a 7-foot Arya Stark.
Yep.
Durant is. He will hold a grudge only forever.
Yeah, I think that was for me. And I wonder, like, if he goes and joins the Warriors again, because KD hears everything, if they would, because they won't win in Phoenix, or he won't win in Phoenix, but I think he just doesn't want to hear that anymore. Like, oh, you joined the 72-win Warriors, and obviously you guys won the NBA championship, so you can't do it on your own. And I think he
hasn't
weighed that, and he hasn't. And I think the dislike for Draymond Green's there, because I thought the same thing when the Jimmy Butler thing went final. I'm like, all right, good luck having those two work together. ESPN's talking about a new big three in San Francisco. I'm like, nope, that isn't it. That isn't it.
That ain't it. I mean, how old is Jimmy Butler? He's got to be. Is he in his mid? He's 35.
35.
They gave him a 2-year contract at $112 million.
Yeah.
He's 35. I mean, the deal is, so it's Golden State's 2025 first-round pick. It's protected. So that's part of the deal. And then Wiggins and some other folks kind of bouncing around. There were a couple other teams that had to be involved, Utah and Toronto also involved in that deal. What would be the baseball trade deadline? Does that one deliver? Because they kind of have two in baseball. They have the actual deadline, and then they have the buyout thing that happens. What's that, in August?
Yeah. I don't think – I think it does – it does sometimes deliver. Like, I'm trying to remember the last time any of the Ohio teams made a gigantic splash. And I'm thinking back to maybe Andrew Miller.
That was probably the biggest.
So I don't know if it has anything seismic like the NBA trade deadline. I don't think any deadline in any sport does.
I feel like the baseball trade deadline used to, but I feel like it hasn't here recently that much. Usually a lot of those baseball deals happen in the offseason. I love the hockey trade deadline.
Of course you do.
The past couple of years, though, it hasn't been that great. But, man, I love sitting at home watching NHL Network or TSN all day on trade deadline day.
Used to be so excited for it. I don't think it's delivered in a long time, the NHL trade deadline. I don't know if it's just harder to move marquee guys or what. But, I mean, you sit there and you watch Bob McKenzie for years up there and Darren Drager on TSN, and you'd watch the ticker and you'd hope for something big. And a lot of times it was marginal players that were traded. It feels like it's been a long time since we've had an NHL trade deadline day that really hit.
I think one of the problems with that the last couple years, Bo, has been the flat cap in the NHL. I think it's going to be interesting to see this year and next year what the trade deadlines look like, because the cap is supposed to go up so much next season.
Oh, they're going to get a little bit of a boost back? That still blew my mind when we had that conversation last week that we stumbled into on Sergei Fedorov making $28 million in the 90s.
Yeah,
there's nobody even close to that. They're half that now.
The cap has been the same, right around 81 to 83 million the past couple years. Next year, it's going to bump up into the 90s, I believe. So it might be interesting to see. Maybe we'll get some crazier deals this year and next.
I'm curious to see if I'm very curious to see what happens with the NBA if they're, in terms of attention, it's truly global sport, probably more so than any other sport that we have in our country, with the exception of soccer, which is obviously MLS is still a relatively new league in regard to the rest of them in comparison. So obviously MLS has come a long way, and that's obviously the world's true game. But basketball would be second on that list in terms of one that's played everywhere around the globe. And so I think that they'll always be safe because they'll always have kind of the global feel to it, and I think that the salaries will go up and up and up. Right now you're in a situation where it's routine for guys 35 years of old, like this deal that Jimmy Butler got, 2 years, 112 for a 35-year-old. Like, people make a big deal about quarterbacks making money. This is a 35-year-old dude. He's probably made $500 million playing professional basketball, and at age 35 he signed a 2-year extension for 112. And that's my hunch is that stays because the NBA provides 82 games per team per year in a full playoff, and there's a global aspect to it. Their ratings are not great. They're not, I mean, you guys saw the hockey stuff that dropped over the weekend with the hockey numbers on ESPN and TNT way, way down. Like 175,000 people watching games. That's brutal. But the NBA does have a global aspect to it. So while it's not rating great here in our country, I think they still are fine because of the global aspect of it. And if they open up at some point to Amazon and Netflix and all of those things, which I imagine eventually they will, I think those numbers will continue to go. There's only 15 guys on a roster. There's only 12 who suit. So that money's got to be spread around somewhere. So you're going to see this won't stop. You're going to continue to see this. You're going to see guys making $100 million a year playing NBA.
I'm fascinated to see how Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green and that dynamic works together on the same team, because I can see Jimmy just doing some of his weird stuff and Draymond being, get out of here.
Well, both of them. They both have that in them. I don't think it does a damn thing for the West. I don't think it changes anything. I don't know. I don't know that Denver or Oklahoma City is shaking in their boots because of Jimmy Butler pairing with Steph Curry in their mid to late 30s. I think you do this deal 7 years ago, maybe, but not now. No, I don't think so. I think it's we'll see if anything else happens. My guess is all the hits have been played. When you trade a 25-year-old, 5-time first-team All-NBA guy, that's kind of the headliner, and that happened over the weekend. Second hour coming up next. We begin it with your emails. A lot of good ones here. We will get through them. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. The one you love is the light of your life. And if you're like most of us, you want to do whatever you can to nurture your relationship. But if you're suffering with erectile dysfunction, you know the impacts the condition is likely having on you and your partner. ED is a relationship destroyer. It can contribute to depression, distancing, conflicts, and even breakups and divorce. And what's so disturbing about this is that most men who suffer with ED can be successfully treated, but a lot of guys don't seek treatment when they should. At Tri-State Men's Health, we have protocols that are effective in well over 90% of cases. In fact, if you're like most guys, you could be having great sex within a day or two of your first appointment, and maybe find you're performing like you haven't in a long time. So call Tri-State Men's Health today. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
For a limited time at Speedway, get 2 big pizza slices and your favorite Coca-Cola 20-ounce for only $5 with Speedy Rewards. Choose from Classic 3-Cheese, Pepperoni, or Extreme Meat Pizza. Save big with the $5 meal deal with Speedy Rewards. Only at Speedway. Valid through 3/4/25. See app for full terms.
Hey Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived, the only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100 and be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The New Year's celebration is come and gone, but my friends at Germain Honda of Dublin are still offering those great deals. Rich is sticking with rates starting as low as 0% and leases starting from only $249 a month. Test drive the Prologue, the new all-electric SUV from Honda. And how about the very popular CR-V LX all-wheel drive? A 25 lease is only $349 a month for 36 months with $19.99 down. See the dealer for all these amazing details. Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road, just south of 270.
They're trained. They're fired up.
Let's do it.
When you need heat, they can't be beat. They're Ohio State's undefeated heating and cooling team. For plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling, there's only one team. The Waterworks. Better care, better value, better results. Call the Waterworks at 614-232-2222 or visit them online at thewaterworks.com. A proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Say yes to Diamond Seller's Wedding Weekend on February 21st and 22nd. Enjoy buy one, get one half off wedding bands, 20% off diamond anniversary bands, and special no-interest financing on engagement rings. Visit us in-store and learn more at diamondseller.com.
Get it right with help from Right Rug Flooring. Thousands of styles are in stock and ready for next day expert installation. Like carpet starting at $219 a square foot installed with pad. And luxury vinyl starts at only $399 a square foot installed. Unmatched value with 24-month financing available. Visit a showroom or schedule a free in-home estimate today. Get it right with Right Rug Flooring. Your beautiful new floor is right here, right now.
Hey, it's Chris Canty. Guys, you don't want to fumble Valentine's Day. You need a solid game plan. Send foolproof flowers from the Books Company and get 25% off your entire purchase. Books flowers are fresh, vibrant, and last way longer. Some are even grown on the side of a volcano. Don't wait. Valentine's Day is February 14th, so get your order in now. Go to Books.com. Use my promo code CANTY for 25% off. That's BOUQS.com, promo code CANTY. Books, promo code CANTY.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. The NBA trade deadline is 3 o'clock today. The Heat sent Jimmy Butler to the Warriors last night in a 5-team deal that saw Miami pick up Andrew Wiggins and a first-round draft pick. The Cavaliers aren't likely to make a move before this afternoon. Cleveland won at Detroit last night, 118-115. Darius Garland hit a half-court three at the buzzer. Cavs are at the Wizards Friday night at 7. In college hoops, the 8th-ranked Ohio State women's squad lost at top-ranked UCLA last night, 65-52. The Bruins remain perfect at 22-0. They're 10-0 in conference play. The Buckeyes fall to 9-2 in the Big Ten. They'll play at number 7 Southern California Saturday night. The Ohio State men's squad hosts number 18 Maryland tonight at 7. You can hear that game on The Fan with coverage at 6. And in college football, Ohio State's expected to promote Brian Hartline to offensive coordinator. Former Virginia Tech OC Tyler Bowen will be the Buckeyes' new O-line coach. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
With friends like these, who needs former college football players? This is Bishop and Friends.
All right, second hour here on a Tuesday edition of the program. A little bit of breaking news here from Letterman Row. Ryan Day, contract extension at Ohio State through 2031. So my guess is all of this stuff will be announced together. You'll get all of that stuff together. We'll have more on that coming up in about 15 minutes from now. Time to open the mailbag. Hit it, fellas.
Our comment box is always open. Any feedback is mostly appreciated.
The mail never stops. It just keeps coming and coming and coming. There's never a let up. It's relentless. Every day it piles up more and more and more. And you got to get it up. And the more you get out, the more it keeps coming in.
Bishop and Friends present emails.
All right, baby. Lots of them again this week. Let's start with Zach, the subject, championship memories. He writes, I know there are a lot of you remember where you were moments in sports, but this run was special. My wife gave birth to our second child and our first son on New Year's Eve. And the memories from this run will always be linked with the newborn days of his life, whether it was watching the Rose Bowl on a hospital TV with the sound through the remote. Yeah, those are awful viewing experiences. I remember well. To being overcome with emotion as Jack ran the fumble back for a touchdown while having to be still and not saying a thing because I had a newborn sleeping on my chest. This run has meant so much to me. I'm assuming all of Ohio. Thank you to the players and staff for the memories. He won't remember Ohio State lifting the trophy, but I will never forget the moments that were made so much more special than the remember where you were moment for me. Will be sleeping newborn on my chest for the last 3 games of the run. That's great stuff. Side note, I married my beautiful bride in 2020, so we have not beat Michigan in our entire marriage. She was not too impressed when I jokingly suggested, maybe it's you. Thanks for everything that you do. Yes, Zach. That's a great line. This one from Greg. Ryan Day, the new professional football coach. 2 weeks ago after the national championship, I sent you fellas an email asking about Ryan Day being so good at not having player issues. Ryan Day has to be absolutely amazing with coaching staff too. Ryan has been 6 for 6 for coaching hires, at least in Greg's opinion. 2 offensive coordinators, promoted Keenan Bailey, McElrary, Carlos Lachlan, 3s, and now Hartline. In 1 year, Ryan Day has hired or promoted almost half of the coaching staff. No one, I mean not one coach in college football, has had to do what Ryan Day has done. I hear you say all the time that everything that Marcus Freeman touches to gold. I don't know if we've said that, to be fair. Kirby Smart has done with his players, let alone his staff. Well, fellas, the way I see things on Buckeye football with Ryan Day, he's the new professional football coach. My question for you fellas is, when will Ryan Day start getting the credit he's due for the great job he's doing? Well, to answer your question, Greg, It seems like they just did.
What timing?
What timing?
That $12.5 million per year compensation is going to make him the second highest paid coach in college football behind Kirby Smart.
There you go.
So that's what the money's for.
That's it. Thank you very much. That's through 2031. And I'm sure you continue to win, that number will go up and up and up.
It's just the base.
So much. Oh, man. Anytime people cry about there's too much money in NIL, you just think about what they're paying coaching staffs now. This one from Daniel Bigelow. The subject is Tavian St. Clair. He writes, haven't heard any talk of Tavian being the recipient of the Michael Dupree National Football Player of the Year. How do you feel St. Clair will do as a Buckeye? You haven't, because I'm not monitoring National High School Player of the Year awards. It's not something I pay attention to. Tavian St. Clair is a unanimous 5-star. He is, by most measure, the first, second, or third best quarterback prospect in this class. The Underwood kid at Michigan, and then there's the Alabama kid, are the only two that are in the mix with him. How he will do as a Buckeye, who knows? He looks great. He's got to be the most highly regarded quarterback out of Ohio since... Who's our last 5-star?
Is it Jay-Z?
Zwicky was 4/5. I mean, Aller was 5.
I was about to say Aller, but I thought you were asking about 5-star here. But
5-star Buckeye. Braxton was a 4, if memory serves.
Burrow, was he?
No.
He wasn't a 5. He was a 4.
No. He was like a 3. I think he rose to a 4 after he signed here, but he wasn't in that vicinity. He might be the most highly I know like Rex Kern, but I don't think they were doing quarterback rankings in the 60s?
Schleister was a big time.
Schleister would have been a big time.
He'd have been a 5-star plus per on 3.
Bobby Hoyne was pretty big out of St. Henry.
Yeah. Yeah, it's up there. Those are all of the names that you remember. How will he do as a Buckeye? He's going to be put in a position to succeed that is as big as can be. And if the lineage thing works out and you go Julian Sand for 2 and he sits for 2 and then develops and then boom, it's yours. If he can have the patience that Arch Manning has, it's going to serve him very well.
I know most people don't think about this kid anymore, but I think it's going to be interesting to see the parallels of Tavian St. Clair and Ryan Montgomery, who's Luke Montgomery's brother that's going to Georgia. It's going to be interesting to see those two because Ohio State chose Tavian over Ryan, so it'll be interesting.
Montgomery was a 4-star, high 4-star guy out of Findlay. So this one from Mark. Good morning, Bill. I'm a Monday through Friday listener of The Fan. I'm an Amazon driver. Always have The Fan on while driving. Absolutely love all your stories about your 3 boys. I don't know you at all, but can tell you must be an awesome father. Really enjoying listening to you. I have an idea for a fundraiser. Have all the linebackers that are on The Fan, past and present, meet at some nice restaurant where the public gets to meet them, pay a small cover fee. I would definitely pay to meet them all and give all proceeds to charity. Have a great day. Keep up with what you do. Yeah, that would work. I mean, that's basically the Buckeye Cruise for Cancer. But, yeah, I'll talk to him. Talk to Bob. See if we
do
can
that at a fun casual joint, or?
Sure. Yeah, we can find a spot. All right, this one from John. The subject is NCAA enforcement. They would never do it. It may well not stand up to legal challenges, but I'd love to see the NCAA adopt the philosophy of guilty until proven innocent. NCAA charges Big State U with violationettes. Let us see everything we ask for. Stonewall us. We'll assume guilt and mete out the punishment. Yeah, probably not going to hold up. The issue that he's getting to the root of the issue he's referring to here, though, is just the unenforceable nature of college athletics at the moment. That there are no rules. There's nothing you can enforce. You put all the guidelines you want, but there's absolutely nothing that you can do about people who are nefarious in regard to the rules. This one from John. The subject is high school 3-year grads. Love the show, listening as I type this. I'm 61, graduated from high school in the early 80s. For reference, went to a local high school in Central Ohio. I do not believe the Ohio Department of Education has changed requirements much since I graduated. After my junior year, I was 1 credit, a whole year class, or 2 half-year classes from graduating from the Ohio Department of Education and my high school standards, as low as I think some think they are. I also participated in sports, and I still had to take gym. Now, if you participate in sports, it is my understanding that fulfills the gym requirement in a lot of school districts. Now, there are advanced classes with may not give time for extra credit that I did not have. It is very easy to graduate in 3 years for anyone in high school if that is the goal. Thanks, and go Bucks. You guys are Ohioans. In Montana, there was no chance of this. Like, you took these classes. It was a 4-year deal. No one was graduating early. I don't know if they are now. Do you guys remember this? You guys both Ohioans?
I mean, I was never a good enough student to even broach the subject, so it really didn't matter. I know there were kids in my grade that took classes at Columbus State or at Ohio State and could get early college credit, but I don't think anybody, and I think this only falls into the good enough athlete, and no, nothing like this was around when you didn't even think about it.
My dad did this, actually. He was supposed to graduate in 74, but he took enough classes and whatnot that he graduated in 73. I do believe this was able to happen at my school when I was there. I just don't exactly remember how, but if you took certain classes, and I know like certain things you got college credits for and whatnot, so.
Yeah, it was not an option.
Where did your dad graduate from high school?
Grove City.
Oh, okay. Just doing things differently in Southern Columbus.
Yeah.
There you go.
We always have down there, Oak Grove, Tucky.
Jay with this. Not an interactive person, but just want to say thanks. I'm in my car all the time for work, and you and the friends have made the commute better. I send your Spotify link to all my friends who moved out of state. Best football sports analysis in the game. Thank you and all involved. Very much appreciated. Well, thank you, Jay. And you can listen out of state, podcast. You can stream however you want. But we thank you for your kind words. This one from Mary. Listen to you daily. I find it surprising you don't mention the refs. That's why they all hate the Chiefs. It's not greatness. Allen got the first down. Oh, baby. Last one from Kevin. The subject is MJ endorsements. Hey, Bo, I remember MJ in a commercial with Larry Bird from McDonald's where they play for a Big Mac meal. Yeah, the horse game. That was awesome. You know, I made that comment. It's a bad job out of me. I made the comment earlier this week. We were talking about how we get sick of our superstars now and how Mahomes has gotten to the point where he's hated. And we were trying to think of guys who were never hated. And I thought of Jordan and Tiger Woods as guys who were dominant and yet weren't really hated by anybody. And I made the mistake of saying the only ads I remember Jordan doing were Gatorade and Nike. And then as soon as I said it, I started to think, and I thought, oh, no, he did Wheaties. He did McDonald's. Yeah. He did Hanes. He did a lot of it. The difference was you did not have him on social media, too. So you saw him in commercials. You saw him play games. But you did not get full access to his private life the way you do with these guys now.
It's funny, Bo, when we were talking about that, you did mention the Hanes as you were going to break. Yeah. And I thought of that Larry Bird and Michael Jordan McDonald's. I was like, I'm pretty sure he sponsored McDonald's as well, too. But yeah. And I think Man and Bone were talking about, because Angel Reese just did a thing with McDonald's, and you can get the Angel Reese meal. And Mike was saying you could get the Michael Jordan meal back in the day, and it was very similar to this Angel Reese meal. Oh, I'm sure in Chicagoland there were all sorts of Michael Jordan meals you could.
Yeah, I can't imagine. I don't remember that being in Columbus.
Yeah. All right. The Browns say they're not trading Myles Garrett. Myles Garrett says, well, I'm going to make a statement requesting a trade, and then I'm going to go to Super Bowl Media Row, and I'm going to tell everybody. And he did. To everybody. We will get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
The sound of Paul Keels calling a Buckeye game is erotic.
Oh, yes.
Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Care Heating and Cooling. Honest technicians, honest pricing. Call 1-800-COOLING.
It's really been amazing, the amount of people that I've had contact me, and the talk is generally centered around QC Kinetics, and whether it's a knee, whether it's a back, a hip, shoulder.
He's always happy to talk about how QC Kinetics all-natural regenerative treatments finally gave him relief without surgery. That's former pro football player Bobby Carpenter.
My message to them is do not wait and push off a week, a month, whatever it is. So if you want to feel better this summer, now would be the time to get in. If you want to feel better in the fall, make sure that you're getting in here so you can go out and play golf and do the things that you love and enjoy.
Spoken by a man who experienced relief firsthand. QC Kinetics gave this former pro athlete back his mobility, his activity, and they'll do the same for you.
Has really helped me in just my general quality of life.
Don't wait. Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation today. QC Kinetics.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
Big game party? Save big with Hothead Burritos Super Online Catering Discount. Bowls, burritos, tacos. Your guests will have a blast creating their own with choices for groups of 10 or more. Plan your menu now for Sunday's game at hotheadburritos.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go.
The company's downsizing. This is the third time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available for qualified students, including the GI Bill.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Timmy, isn't Ohio in the mix with like Sigma, toilet, skibbity, the whole thing, right? It's all that, right? It's all in there. Toilet, skibbity.
Common Man and T-Bone.
Sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Weekdays 3 to 6 on The Fan.
Have you ever told a friend
Oh, I'm fine.
when you really felt
Just so overwhelmed.
or sent a text
Can't sleep. Are you awake?
when you couldn't find the words to say?
I'm scared to be alone with my thoughts right now.
Then this is your sign to reach out to the 988 Lifeline for 24/7 free confidential support. You don't have to hide how you feel. Text, call, or chat anytime.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Today, looking at some sunshine this afternoon, high around 47. Tomorrow, sunny, high 37. Heading into Saturday, our next storm will bring a mixed bag of rain, snow, sleet, and freezing rain, and then going to all rain as we go into Saturday night. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 TV weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
Your morning just got beefier. Morning Juice with Beamer, Bobby, and Shark.
Weekdays from 6 to 9.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. 10 feet tall and bulletproof isn't just a saying, it's a way of life. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
And we are sponsored by great friends at Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. Myles Garrett has been with the Browns his entire career as a number 1 overall pick. In my experience, and I've really enjoyed every personal interaction I've had with Myles, and I've had that many of them. There's a handful of times where he would come in the afternoon and come do the show that I do in the afternoon. Not a lot. It's less than probably 2 or 3 times in the time that's been happening. He is not one who gives a lot of access to himself. And he has a weekly availability up there. It's usually late on a Friday of a game. It's usually late in the afternoon on a Friday. That's usually the way that it works. So all of that to be said, him showing up at Super Bowl Radio Row and talking to quite literally anybody who will have him is wild. Wild. That's very different from what he has been to this point in his career. Obviously, he did so with a purpose, and the purpose was, I want out. So let's start with Myles. Let's start on the Rich Eisen show. Rich asked him when he made the decision to request a trade. Here's Myles on that.
I had taken my time after the season, kind of, relax and decompress emotionally. I want to distance myself a little bit and spend a little time talking to my family about really how we feel about this decision. I'd kind of felt this way. I wanted to make sure I was completely detached, and they felt the same way I did. And I feel like everyone's kind of on the same page. And felt like it was time to speak on something that was near and dear to my heart. And have a lot of love for Cleveland, but it's always for me been about continuing for championships, winning those big games, and winning Lombardis. And we haven't had the opportunity to do that, and that's all I'm asking for.
Very strange. If you guys remember the final episode of Hard Knocks, Myles looks right into the camera and talks about kind of turning things around. And I think most fans saw that and saw, okay, well, he's obviously good and he's going to be part of the quick flip that they're trying to do up there. Obviously, that did not tell the entire picture. So he continued on Eisen. This is the one where he talks about where the Browns are heading. Here is Myles Garrett on the Rich Eisen Show.
Just looking at kind of the trajectory of the team, talking to some of the higher ups, and I have a lot of respect for them, but I just don't think we're aligned on where the team is going in the near future. I feel like, the window for us as athletes is only so broad, and it only continues to close as years go by, with anything be able to happen on that field from day to day. And I want to be able to go out there and compete at the highest levels, day in and day out, and playing for champions, like I said.
He gets more direct on the Mina Kimes podcast. Yeah, he did them all. Anybody who would have him, he did, which, again, it's just not the way that he's been in his career in terms of accessible from a media perspective. He's on Mina Kimes, and he directly said you must have a good quarterback to win, which we all know. Here's Myles on that.
Absolutely. Any playoff team or any championship team, they're going to have a quarterback, a good quarterback. And you've seen some game managers go out there with a great defense and win it all. But if you want to consistently be at the top, you got to have a really good quarterback.
So this one with Sports Illustrated is something that I don't recall a player under contract being asked directly about another team. So one of the teams that could be in the mix for him is Washington. And he was asked about the possibility of playing in Washington, and he answered.
They need a pass rusher. I think that's something that they dearly miss down there in the playoffs and some of the big games. And I feel like I can fill that role, but that's a role that multiple teams need. And I feel like not only a pass rusher, but I think I'm the best defensive player in the game, and 100%. I feel like that's invaluable in itself.
All right, a couple of you never hear this. I mean, even on the Mina Kimes spot, he's talking about Jaden Daniels openly. So, I've never seen a guy under contract in the National Football League show up at radio. Maybe I'm missing something. By all means, remind me of it. But show up on Radio Row and do a bunch of interviews and then directly talk about teams that he's not under contract for. I mean, I don't have a point of reference on that.
It was funny. Somebody caught up with Howie Roseman and asked him about Myles Garrett. And he's like, I can't talk about another player under contract. And he stops like, but good try, though.
Yeah,
it's amazing. It's almost like he's already going to the Commanders. Everybody just keeps asking and throwing Myles with Washington.
I heard it was the Bears yesterday.
Whatever it is, again, they're steadfast. They're not going to trade him. He obviously feels very differently, and I just have never seen somebody who is not a free agent go do a media tour at the Super Bowl. I don't have a point of reference on it. Maybe I'm missing something. There's plenty of guys who have asked for trades. Lots of people. Aaron Rodgers asked for trades or asked out of contracts. A lot of people did that. If they did change their feelings on this and decide that they wanted to trade him, he's really difficult to trade. They would have to eat some money to be able to trade him. So that part of it's real too. There's one other layer to this. Denzel Ward, Mary Kay Cabot, Cleveland.com, caught up with Denzel Ward and had these comments. The request has a huge impact, honestly. I want to play with Myles Garrett. He's a Hall of Fame player. I came in the league, he was on the team, and that's my guy. So I've been talking to him, and I know he said he wants out, but you've just got to hear where he's coming from. He wants to win, so we'll see what the near future holds. He continues, I want to be in Cleveland. I want to win. I'm definitely keeping an eye on what Myles has going on and what he's doing. I'm just interested to see how everything plays out. Like I said, I want to play with Myles. We've just got to wait and see. He continued. I don't think that we should trade Myles Garrett. As I've said, we've got to get this thing rolling in Cleveland and get the quarterback position together, get a few other positions together, and find a way to compete for championships and make it here when we get where we get to a Super Bowl. This is just the real truth, guys. The only thing that would salvage this from a operational, because there's nobody in free agency, there's nobody via trade. You're not getting a game-changing quarterback in free agency. You're not getting a game-changing quarterback via trade. So the only way is if the number 2 pick in the draft elicits someone of Jaden Daniels' talent. And that's just in the eye of the beholder. But anything else other than quarterback at 2, how does that satisfy Myles? How does it satisfy the rest? This is the needle they're having to thread with the rest of the veterans on their roster.
I don't think there's anything they could do to satisfy Myles. I think, to Denzel's comments, and it was just interesting reading through. He has a lot more, and I'd, encourage anybody to go and read that on Cleveland.com. His full interview, and of course he'll join Rothman and Ice today from Super Bowl Radio Row, so they'll, I'm sure, press him on the matter further. Like, what else do you expect him to say? Because I don't think he's at that point where it's you can't repair the relationship. I don't know if there's any, even if they're having difficulties in terms of communication with Denzel and the Browns. Like, it doesn't seem to be like he's disgruntled at all. So you get a quarterback at 2, and then you get a free agent quarterback, and you're able to pick another quarterback later in the round or later in the draft, then that might make him happy. For me, Denzel's comments were like, what do you expect the guy to say? Like, that was perfect in terms of balancing his status with the organization and his friend Myles.
It's funny, while we were going through all this, I was thinking, what would it take, because the Browns say they're not trading him, what would it take for Myles to change his stance? And I don't know if there's anything, because there's no guarantee that the player you get it to, whether it be Cam or Shedeur for the quarterback position, if that's the route the Browns go, there's no guarantee that either of them are going to make you a winning team this year or next year. So I don't know what they could do that would make Myles at least have a change of heart.
No, but what number 2 overall does, if it's a quarterback, is it provides hope. Hope's valuable. No, there's no guarantees. There's no guarantee when he's referencing Jaden Daniels in some of these comments. Myles is. A year ago at this time, if you were up to Myles Garrett, and if, let's say, he were a Washington Commander and he was hoping for this exact same situation, a year ago at this time, if you went up to him and said, well, we're taking a quarterback at 2, does that satisfy? No, but then you see Jaden Daniels play and you go, oh, yeah, that works. So quarterback at 2 gives you some hope in all of this. I've never seen this. I've never seen a player under contract for one team show up at the biggest media event of the year and then do a bunch of availability. You usually see a guy like go on one podcast, or you see them release a statement the way that he did on Monday. This was Myles doubling down from my perspective. So we'll see. You're not going to probably hear from the Browns on any of this until the Combine in a couple of weeks. Will be the first time you hear their view on any of this, other than what you've already heard, which is they're not trading him. They're steadfast on that, and now you're at a little bit of a stalemate here. We'll see how it all shakes out, but a wild yesterday for Myles going on all of the national stuff. All right, 2 minutes from now, our good buddy Paul Finebaum drops by. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
I'm Leslie from Pella, Columbus.
And I'm Wilson from that other window place.
One thing we keep hearing here in town, Wilson, is that the cost of Pella windows actually pleasantly surprises most people.
Pleasantly surprised?
You get the Pella next level quality and looks, but we also have 5 different lines to fit most budgets.
Our customers are almost always surprised, but it's never pleasant. Is there such thing as like angrily surprised?
Price is a little high?
Oh no, they're a lot high.
Get the window that Columbus homeowners rate the leading and most trusted at PellaColumbus.com.
Hey Ohio, Prime Sports has arrived, the only book where you can lay 108 instead of 110 on all your favorite teams. Football, baseball, basketball, hockey, you name it. Why would you risk more to win the same amount at another sports book? Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100 and be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Get it right with help from Right Rug Flooring. Thousands of styles are in stock and ready for next day expert installation. Like carpet starting at $219 a square foot installed with pad. And luxury vinyl starts at only $399 a square foot installed. Unmatched value with 24-month financing available. Visit a showroom or schedule a free in-home estimate today. Get it right with Right Rug Flooring. Your beautiful new floor is right here, right now.
For 100 years, our passionate Atlas Butler has been helping people. From those who have relied on us for years to those who call us for the first time. For our team, their families, and our community, Atlas Butler is here to keep Central Ohio safe and comfortable with trusted, convenient service. Call today, get it fixed today. That's our pledge to you.
Atlas Butler is at your service. Call 1-800-FURNACE.
It's almost Football Friday. All play and no work.
Sponsored by Tansky Sawmill Toyota.
Your home for football, The Fan.
Bishop and Friends present college football's most polarizing figure.
Hey, Paul, how you doing? Come on back to our show, Tim. The audience hates you.
This is ESPN's Paul Finebaum.
Indeed it is, and he joins on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline, as he does every Thursday at this time. All right, the NBA had this Luka trade over the weekend, and one of our social media listeners wrote in and asked us to come up with the college football equivalent of that. To me, there was one pretty straightforward equivalent. If college football, and we have we got the transfer portal, we have all these things. It could happen. What would be the equivalent of waking up in college football and the Luka Doncic trade, applying it to the college football world for you?
Man, I think it would almost have to be coaches, because I don't know if there's other than Arch Manning,
that's the one,
and Jeremiah Smith. Maybe Texas trading Arch Manning to Ohio State for Jeremiah Smith and a player to be named later. There's almost nothing comparable, because I would almost think you almost would have to go to coaches, Bo, and say, okay, we'll. By the way, though, there almost aren't any coaches of that caliber, though.
No, I think you nailed it. I came up with Arch, too, and I did a similar one, and it made people drive off the road when I mentioned it. But, that's the one to me is if you woke up and Arch was in the portal and he was going to show up at Alabama or Ohio State or something like that. I think it's coaches, too. You think about the way that the college football world shook with the news that Nick Saban was shutting it down. Like, there's those type of things that I think certainly apply to it. Yesterday was National Signing Day. There was one player, Paul, in the top 100 who was uncommitted. Do you personally miss the way that it used to be?
No, I don't. And, Bo, I've been exposed to it not only living in a state like yours, but I moved to Charlotte 12 years ago, and I walked. They had me come in my first year about 7 in the morning, because ESPNU was headquartered in the same building. And it was truly insane. For those who don't remember, ESPNU used to be where all the college announcements were made.
Yeah.
And I saw grown men, executives giddy, and one of them, as I walked in, said, "This is the greatest day of the year." And I'm like, I've already spent my career in radio dealing with National Signing Day and the insanity of it. And what always rubbed me about it, it's not so much the players, because listen, if they want to throw hats, do whatever they want. They are 17. But it was the people that used to run these websites, Bo, that drove me. There was one time when some kid who was like a borderline 4-star, more like a 3-star, and on National Signing Day, he committed to Alabama. And the guy who ran the website called Tider Insider, you can do whatever you want with that one, he immediately became a 5-star. And I went to ask the guy, and he said, "You don't understand. That's how we make money, by saying good things about Alabama." And at that moment, I just became so turned off by the National Signing Day.
You're exactly right on those ratings. That's happened here with several quarterbacks that were not 3-star guys. And Devin Brown, for example, was 3-star, 4-star, and then all of a sudden he commits to Ohio State and he's a 5, and you're like, well, wait a second, where did this come from? So those things are tiresome. I remember the one, the Reuben Foster had to be the apex of it for you guys, right? That had to be as big as it gets, because didn't he have an Auburn tattoo?
He did. I think, if I remember correctly, his father had played at Auburn. Maybe, and then he goes to Alabama. There's a lot like that. But when it was really fun was in the 80s. Probably, if you ever want to do some research, there are a couple of guys in the 80s. Marcus Dupree, who ended up, I think he went to Oklahoma. He was one of the most coveted. Herschel Walker, nobody knew. But Bo Jackson, by the way, I covered that in my first year or two. He wasn't even the top-rated player in Alabama.
Really?
There was a guy named Alan Evans, and there may have been a connection there between Evans and Reuben Foster, even though the names are different. But there was a high school guy, and show you how different it was in the early 80s. The high school guy put out like the 10 most wanted or whatever in the newspaper. that was the first time anybody had any idea where these guys were ranked. And then in the mid to late 80s, the talk radio began. There was a couple of guys, and they would literally go on a show once a week and take calls for 3 hours about, hey, what about this guy from wherever? And then he would give them a rating. And there was a real sickness to it. And I'm not insulting anybody who follows this because it is important, but it became obsessive.
I've told the story here. I'll do a brief rendition of it here with you. There was a kid out of Tallahassee named Ernie Sims, who's the number one player in the country. Oh, yeah. He was his signing day was absolutely bonkers. His dad had played at Florida State. Florida State, Auburn, and Georgia were his 3 finalists. All 3 of those schools had the numbers 34 retired, and all 3 said that they would unretire it for him. So Bo, Herschel, and then at Florida State it was a guy named Ron Sellers, but they offered to unretire. That's how crazy it got.
No, and it was I got to know some of the old coaches, and after they retired, they tell the stories. I mean, the night before, you never knew what was going on. I mean, the shenanigans that went on. Somebody told me this the other day. I think it was Eric Dickerson at SMU, a guy who was there covering it. He got cars from 3 different schools in the mid-'80s.
God. Now it's all above board, baby. We can do it.
Yeah.
One thing, I'm curious if you've seen this trend. One thing that I'm starting to notice is in regard to recruiting, you're seeing and Ohio State's doing this now. They're not throwing big NIL at offensive line. They're going in the portal at offensive line. And that's historically been the position that's the hardest to come in right away and play. So the thinking is you go somewhere, they still want some guys, but they're not as aggressive as they used to be. And you look at some of where these guys land. Some of these schools are paying a lot of money for freshman tackles. I'm curious if that'll be a trend that we see throughout the top, at the very highest point of the sport, where instead of giving a bunch of NIL to an offensive lineman, you let them go develop somewhere else.
Well, as important as it is, Caden Proctor, who you're familiar with, he was the number one offensive lineman in the country out of Iowa. He went to Alabama. He was absolutely. It was a left tackle. He was absolutely dreadful his first year. This guy couldn't block the 2 of us. And then toward the end of the year, he got good. And if you remember, he went back to Iowa. And then he came back to Alabama about 6 weeks later. I think he made money at both ends. But my point being, I know there are exceptions to the rule, but there are not many great offensive linemen on their first college game.
No, there certainly are not. The other thing that I'm fascinated, and we've dealt with this firsthand. We had Jim Knowles go to Penn State, and then we had Chip Kelly go to the NFL with the Vegas Raiders, get a nice pay bump. Today we have a contract extension for Ryan Day, and he's kind of reshaped his coaching staff with a bunch of young guys who are previously had been old guys that he'd hired and brought in there with a bunch of experience. That's not the way that it's going this time around. I am curious about the talent drain in the sport, Paul, because as I've talked to more and more folks who are involved in it in coaching staffs, the common theme I get is if I get an NFL offer, I'm gone. Are you hearing that as well, that there was a time when you could maybe even argue that college football was a better gig than the NFL because of the stability? I don't sense that anymore. Are you hearing similar?
Yes, and the reason is very simple, and I bring this up unrelated to all the – by the way, when I saw that news a minute ago about Ryan Day, I was thinking, wasn't he about to get fired a couple weeks ago?
Life comes at you fast, right?
It does, but I talked to Greg Sankey last night on our show, and there weren't a lot of headlines, although I think there will be. I know that he spent some time yesterday morning talking to Tony Petitti because – they're preparing for that big meeting in a couple of days or whenever it is in New Orleans with the ADs from the Big Ten and the SEC. But, I mean, he was as emotional as I have seen him talking about the problems with these collectives, the NIL, and if we don't get something situated here quickly, he didn't finish the sentence, but it was like almost saying the sport is going to blow up. He mentioned congressional intervention. But, he's now employed – and a translation of what he really said, though, was we are going to find partners, and if you don't go along with us, that's your problem. But we can no longer survive on a state-by-state NIL legislation. And that's why you're seeing the assistant coaches and the head coaches and literally everyone run away from college football right now.
That's something you and I have talked about a lot. The Big Ten and the SEC, Petitti, Sankey, who they represent, if they want to come up with their own set of rules – They can do it. They have the power to do it, I think. I mean, I think they're the only ones because congressional savior, I don't see that happening. Do you?
No, I mean, there's more optimism, but I think that's what this is really about. I mean, it has something to do with the CFP as well, but that is minor compared to the other issues. And I think that is going to be one of the topics. And I mean, they could, if they say, okay, we collectively are going to abide by these rules. I know there'll be legal, challenges. Sure. But okay, fine. This is how we're going to do it, and I think the Big Ten and the SEC can pull away and leave everyone else in the dust. And I can't imagine the rest of them wouldn't follow suit though to try to stay in the same business. Absolutely.
Great talk as always. Appreciate your time, buddy. Thank you for giving us a little bit of it today.
You bet. A pleasure, Bo. Thank you.
All right, there he is, Paul Finebaum, the Paul Finebaum Show on ESPN on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. We hit a little thing or not a thing up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Start at Indeed.com/credit.
The Ohio State Coaches Daily Show is brought to you locally on the Fan by Credit Union of Ohio.
It's a Daily Show with Coach Jake Diebler, brought to you by Encova Insurance. Maryland comes to town, a team you saw earlier in the season, but when you think about that, your team very much a different team from when you first played Maryland at College Park, Jake?
Absolutely. Completely different team. We'll certainly reflect on that game and some of the schemes of that game, but I think they're a different team too. They're playing some of the best basketball of really anybody in the Big Ten lately, coming off 4 straight wins, a couple of those on the road. So, 2 completely different teams, so to speak, us maybe more than them because of some of the roster changes, but great opportunity for us here at home, quad 1 opportunity, so we're looking forward to it.
Another comment in just a moment.
Hi, I'm Archie Griffin, 2-time Heisman Trophy winner. The right coverage can be a game changer, both on and off the field. That's why Encova Insurance and their local independent agents are prepared for what's next and protect what matters most to you. Whether that's your home, car, business, or family, Encova's got your back with a policy that fits you perfectly. With local independent agents in your neighborhood and innovative insurance products that can be tailored to fit your unique needs, Encova's playbook is an easy win for your peace of mind. You can trust their team of agents to develop a strategy that's just right for you. And it's not just X's and O's. Your expert agent will guide you and provide insurance solutions so you can confidently manage your risk and count on a financially secure future. For auto, home, and business insurance, you want Encova on your team. Visit Encova.com today to find an agent near you. Encova is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Now, the officials have been talking for quite some time.
All righty, let's see what they have to say.
Upon further review, there is no penalty on the play. However, we have conferred and discovered that Bob, the line judge, has saved a boatload for his kids' college using Ohio's 529 plan. It is tax-free, accepted nationwide. Bob recommends we all go to collegeadvantage.com. First down.
Well, that's not entirely unexpected.
Classic Bob.
Speaking of being at home, Jake, you're always so good about acknowledging the crowd and the influence they've had on a game. As the game's going on while you're focused on everything else, can you really feel their effect?
You can feel it, certainly. You probably see me get a little passionate at times during those moments. Listen, we see it on the road. We've had some great moments at home where crowds can be impactful. They can extend runs when you're in the lead, like help you push the lead. They can help you when you're trying to come from behind, right? Get there quicker. And it's like on the road, I've had to use timeouts when the crowd gets going. I'm not afraid to, try to stop that momentum. So it's impactful. We've had some great moments this year where you can feel it. We're going to need more of those, though, here down the stretch.
Okay, this is the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, basketball fans, Credit Union of Ohio wants to help you score more by making life more affordable. It's time to play with a team that helps you win every day. Credit Union of Ohio's loan rates have dropped to provide affordable financing for the things you want and need. It's time to reevaluate your current loans and consider refinancing with a team that cares about you. Check out current specials and get started scoring more money at cuofohio.org. That's cuofohio.org. NCUA insured, equal housing lender.
Everybody knows that Roosters is a fun, casual joint. With their award-winning waitstaff, great food, fun, and laughter. It's a quick stop on the way home to sit back and unwind or grab a carryout. Roosters is where you, your family, and friends can order pizza, sandwiches, salads, and more. And the home of award-winning wings that are fresh, never frozen. It's your family's other dinner table. Roosters, a fun, casual joint.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. And everybody's had these pains, these little nicks, these things that you maybe had an injury when you were younger and you thought it went away. And then all of a sudden, as you get old, it starts to creep back. Doing everything, walking up the stairs, doing your favorite activities, golf, skiing, whatever it might be, the summer, the spring, the winter, it hurts. Hey, do not deal with it any longer. The hip, the knee, the shoulder, the back, whatever it is, there's good news. Go to QC Kinetics. Their groundbreaking treatments for that arthritis pain, they're going to make you feel better. The long-term relief, it's now possible. They're right here in Columbus under the leadership of Dr. Ray Tesner, founder of Grant Sport Medicine and a classically trained orthopedic surgeon. Don't wait. Make the call today. My dad and I did. His knee's starting to feel better. My knee feels better. They've got PRP treatments. They can change your life. I'm telling you right now. So go to qckinetics.com/Columbus for your free consultation or give them a call at 380-208-4544. It's not going to go away on its own. They've got 2 offices in Dublin and Gahanna, so check them out.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Keep your friends close and your producers closer. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, time for a little thing or not a thing on a Thursday. Hit it, fellas.
Thing or not a thing.
Sponsored by Apex Plumbing Pros.
Paul Dehner Jr. covers the Bengals at The Athletic. He was doing the Lord's work this morning watching FS1. Joe Burrow was on that channel's program called Breakfast Ball. He was asked if he's willing to restructure to help keep everyone together in Cincinnati. His answer, quote, "Of course." And he was asked if he has faith Bengals ownership will be willing to spend and get all of those deals done. For Chase, for T, for Trey Hendrickson, quote, I do. We have the cap space to get it done. I want to make it happen. Everybody involved, Trey, T, Jamar, Mike G, we all want to stay together. When you have the guys that are motivated like that, I think you can get these things done, end quote. Thing or not a thing?
He keeps saying it. I guess what he's doing is he's pushing every time. He's kind of pushing. It's now your move. Right? I mean, that's what he's doing to Bengals ownership. He's saying it's your move. I'll restructure. So in order for them to restructure, they'll have to transfer his money they'll have to redo his contract and turn it into guaranteed money. So are they liquid enough to be able to do it? They've always said that they're not. People down there are skeptical of that. But that's the only way to do it. I don't get it. I don't know how you can pay 2 receivers and a quarterback like 60% of your cap. If that's the market value on it. I just don't understand it. So he keeps saying it, and maybe he's trying to talk it into existence. I don't know. It seems far-fetched to me, though.
I found out yesterday Rob Ryan is the assistant head coach at USC. The eldest Ryan brother spoke yesterday on his excitement to work with USC defensive coordinator D'Anton Lynn. And it was a pretty interesting 2-minute rant that Rob went on.
Oh, I saw this.
I had no idea he was even working in football. Thing or not a thing?
Well, it's incoherent largely. I mean, it feels, I don't have any idea of the guy's, where he is in terms of his own mental space or anything. But honestly, Reese, as you were watching it, didn't it feel like to you like he was, I don't know, on something?
Yeah. There were a couple times where he just left. If you've ever seen a Ryan Day press conference, it was framed that way, and he would just walk off mic or walk off camera or out of frame, and then he'd come back in, and then he'd go on tangents, like where he's talking about his excitement to work with this USC staff. I mentioned D'Anton Lynn, their defensive coordinator. He's saying, watch where we finish this year, and then he just starts throwing out players who he's never met before, and then starts telling stories about going to Hawaii, and it's a pretty crazy.
Just read it straight.
Presser.
Watch where we finish this year. Watch where we finish this year. This guy is special. He's special. He knows how to get it done. He's a great communicator, great teacher. He's fun to be around. He makes everybody better, including the coaches. We'll see, I'm looking forward for the, what do you call it? Spring ball or whatever?
Or whatever.
I can't wait. We're going to go against the best. Oh, good. Bring it on. Let's see how. Can we see that little JUCO kid from Bam? We're going to get after this. But anyway, it'll be great. We're excited. That's it. That's the quote, kids. Wild. I didn't know he was there either. It was a really wild. I don't know what that program's doing.
At least being exciting for a hot minute. On Wednesday, Columbus crew manager Wilfried Nancy spoke on a great many things, including the decision to send Cucho Hernandez to La Liga.
The plan was already set in terms of he's here, he can stay for 10 years, but also there is a possibility also for him to live in a lot of respect about Columbus with a bigger club. So this is the idea. So we just followed what happened, and so he was supposed to stay, obviously, but a club came, and this is good for him. This is good also for the club.
Thing or not a thing?
So as I saw Brother Bone on this, and I defer to him on this stuff. And his beef, I guess, pretty directly was that his belief was there was more money out there in the transfer portal for money coming into the crew had they let him sign somewhere else. And I guess Taylor Twellman is saying this is great business because you keep the fact that you have a great reputation in the international soccer world, and that helps, and that'll help you continue to have young players. So and then Brother Bone didn't like that. He's not a fan of Twellman and did not like that notion at all. Again, this is out of my depth to know if it's good business or not. On the surface of it, I'll take Nancy at his word, and I think that this was probably always part of the plan. I did read some stuff that his national team, Colombia, needed him to play. They wanted him to play in one of the top leagues, and so they did right by him, is some of the reporting I saw. So we'll see. It sucks for the crew, but this is also it's the job of the guys running that thing to find the next one, and they've done that a lot. You know, they've found these guys, and so it's a great organization. They continue to win, and they continue to be in the mix a lot. So my guess is they'll find the next guy. And this is also part of soccer, right? Like even the greatest players in Europe, they rarely play an entire career like Messi did for Barcelona. Like that almost never happens. So I think this is kind of part of the business. But I understand the beef that Brother Bone and many have, that they should have asked for more. But to me, it just seems like this was kind of agreed upon before he ever came here. But who knows?
I just don't know. I guess I don't follow soccer enough to know how this is. What I do know is I asked Beam and Bone both, like, where does Cucho go down in the greatest players of all time in crew history? And I'm thinking they're like, top 3, something like that. Brian McBride, obviously. And they were like, no, he's number 1. He's the guy that we would want the most. So this has got to sting really bad for a lot of crew fans, even though I would think you'd have to know something like this is coming.
He's number 1, huh?
That's what they both said. That was another name they mentioned too, but they said, we're taking Cucho.
That's what I thought was just interesting when Nancy spoke yesterday. He's like, the plan was already set, so they knew that this was going to be the end result. They got, again, in my opinion, $6 million in an MLS Cup in 2.5 seasons. Pretty good return on that investment. Real quick, the NBA trade deadline is today at 3. On Wednesday, ESPN's Sean Charania reported, as Golden State pursues Phoenix's Kevin Durant, the 2-time NBA Finals MVP has no desire in a reunion and does not want to go back.
The Warriors have been seriously pursuing Kevin Durant over the last week, but sources tell me that Durant has no desire in a reunion with the Warriors. He does not want to go back to the Warriors, where he won 2 championships, won 2 finals MVPs. The Suns' position in all of this has been to continue to build around Kevin Durant and Devin Booker, but due to their record, teams have been very aggressive calling the Suns. It's unclear where these talks go between now and tomorrow's deadline, but one thing is clear around the league right now, and that's Kevin Durant does not want to go back to the Warriors in any trade. So for the Warriors, do they continue this pursuit of Kevin Durant? Do they move on to a guy like Jimmy Butler, who we've been discussing over the last couple of months? Is Chicago's Nikola Vucevic a target as well? We'll know in the next 24 hours.
And so we saw what happened with that as Jimmy Butler goes to Golden State. Thing or not a thing?
Well, it turned out being a huge thing. I don't think it's going to shake up the balance of power at all. I'm surprised. Durant it's wild how completely unsentimental he is. I mean, he truly is. He was so hardened by the way that Warriors move was received. He'll never go back to kind of what he was way long time ago in OKC. He's very hardened by it.
Yeah, he gets that. He gets the championship there, but I feel like nobody gives him credit for it, and he probably hates that and doesn't want to return to something like that where he's getting no credit.
All right, final hour of the program up next. We started with a little higher or lower. We do now are really coming in together with a coaching staff at Ohio State as well. We'll get into the Ryan Day extension. Porty at 11:30. That's what you have to look forward to, which is nice. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
We are your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah? The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. It's no wonder that ZipRecruiter is the place for skilled skydiving instructors, accomplished airbrush artists, and proficient pediatricians. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter to hire, you're missing out. ZipRecruiter is the place that's so confident it can make your hiring easier that it lets you try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. So if you want the right candidates for all your roles, ZipRecruiter is the place to go. Try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And though I generally talk about medicine and effective treatments for erectile dysfunction and other men's sexual health issues, today I want to talk about love. Because love is the best reason to get treated for your ED. You see, ED can cause major relationship issues. In fact, men often push their partners away when ED becomes a problem. The condition can cause depression, arguments, breakups, and even contribute to divorce. But the good news is that if you're like most men suffering with ED, you can be successfully treated at Tri-State Men's Health and put a stop to the relationship stresses that ED can cause. I say this with all confidence because we have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. Truly, it's likely you'll find you're performing like you haven't in years. So make an appointment and get the love back in your life. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Donate today at carsforkids.org. That's cars with a K. Your car can be picked up as soon as the next day. Receive a tax deduction and vacation voucher.
1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Now accepting donations of land, homes, buildings, or any kind of real estate.
Back in the studio with a return visit from Todd Schmelt. Todd, the last time you were with us, you claimed to be
the dumbest person in Columbus.
You're being really hard on yourself.
Not in the least. You know what I got?
I hate to ask.
One of them thermostats with the dial and the needle. Woo, woo, woo.
Maybe that's not modern, but not...
What am I? Eli Whitney, Elias Howe, Johann Gertis?
I don't know who those people are.
Those are old-timey people from the 19th century, and that's me. Outdated, like my silly old thermostat.
Okay, look, you're not the dumbest guy in Columbus. You just haven't called Apex Pros.
The pros who knows?
Those guys. Whether it's the latest technology, fixing your furnace, or a brand new system, they know all the stuff so you don't have to.
I don't have to know it all?
Nah, you just have to know the pros who knows.
Apex Pros. I'm not the dumbest guy in Columbus.
I didn't even know who Johann Gertis was.
Inventor of the gas-powered unicycle. Look it up, doy.
Okay, you don't have to be me.
No doubt about it. Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here. The best time of the year for football is finally here. The big game has arrived, and fans are excited to see you'll be hoisting the trophy in New Orleans. You can get in on all the action at ESPN Bet Sportsbook. Check out their big game giveaway promo for your chance at $1 million in prizes. 25 winners will walk away with $10K in cash. 7,500 winners will get $100 in bonus bets. No deposit or bet required. Opt in today in the ESPN Bet Sportsbook app. Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply. See app for details.
Broadcasting from the Lindsay Honda Studios.
Honda makes the cars. Lindsay makes the difference. Visit lindsayhonda.com.
WBNS-FM, HD1 Columbus. The Fan. Sports Center.
Good morning. I'm Eric Reeser. Ohio State head coach Ryan Day has agreed to a new 7-year contract that will keep him in Columbus through 2031. Coach Day will earn $12.5 million per season. He's now the second highest paid coach in the country behind Georgia's Kirby Smart. The Buckeyes are also expected to make it officially official with Brian Hartline as their new offensive coordinator and full-time play caller. Billy Fessler will be the new quarterback coach. Former Virginia Tech OC Tyler Bowen will be the Buckeyes' new O-line coach. In college hoops, Ohio State's back at the Shot tonight, hosting number 18 Maryland at 7 p.m. You can hear that game on The Fan with pregame coverage at 6. On the ice tonight at Nationwide, the Blue Jackets host the Utah Hockey Club at 7. Zach Werenski back on the ice this morning. He'll likely play tonight. Z missed Tuesday's game at Buffalo with a shoulder injury. This update sponsored by Dr. Mark Levy. If you're snoring and not sleeping, give Dr. Mark Levy a call at 1-800-MORE-SLEEP or visit him online at sleepbettercolumbus.com.
Taking the art of sports radio and day drinking to a whole new level. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Ryan Day with a contract extension that makes him the second highest paid coach in all of college football. That staff coming into form as well. We will get into that in about 15 minutes from now. Time for a little higher, lower in between. Hit it, Reese.
Bishop and Friends present Higher or Lower.
Sponsored by The Waterworks. The Waterworks, your undefeated team of plumbing, drain, heating, and cooling. Call 614-232-2222 today.
Oh, baby.
Super Bowl 59, Sunday in New Orleans. Kickoff there 6:30-ish. ClutchPoints.com put together a power ranking of Super Bowl party foods.
Okay.
From 1 to 15. Where do we want to start? 1 or 15?
All right. I gotta look at this. All right, let's pull it up. Let me just see where we're at here on this thing. I think you start at 1, right? Because we have to see. Yeah, I think you start at 1.
Pigs in a blanket.
Really?
At number 2, chicken wings. At number 3, buffalo chicken dip. At 4, Little Smokies. At 5, nachos.
I got to tell you, this is really heavy on meat, on meat in a wrapper, because Little Smokies and pigs in a blanket feel redundant to me.
You wouldn't have both at the same party, I don't think.
I don't think so. I think you have one or the other, don't you? Like, that's the same product. I think. So, of the two, which do you prefer? The pigs in the blanket or the Little Smokies? I'm a pigs in the blanket guy.
Same. I understand where Little Smokies, they're much easier to make. You just put them in a crock pot, heat that thing up for however many hours, and then you take it with you. So I get it, but I prefer a pigs in a blanket.
Yeah, I'm not a Little Smoky guy. When I see the Little Smokies pop in, that's a skip for me. When I look at the smorgasbord that's out there, I think wings have just become such a staple. To me, it feels like that's the jumping off. I think the jumping off point for me of any Super Bowl party, you got to have wings. You got to have some chips and dips. You got to have, for me, you got to have the pizza rolls, or at least pizza, something like that. But I think it starts with wings. I think wings have to be number 1 on this list. So I go higher for wings, lower for pigs in the blanket. Do you guys know that I did not have buffalo chicken dip for my entire life until like 3 years ago?
Wow.
I never had it. And it's great.
I would have guessed you'd say that you had never had it until you moved to Ohio, but 3 years ago is wild.
It is. It's an Ohio staple for sure. Do you guys go cold or warm with it, the buffalo chicken dip?
Warm.
Yeah,
I want warm in the crock pot.
Warm it up, yeah.
Now,
what's your preferred dipping mechanism for the buffalo chicken dip?
Do a good tortilla chip.
Yeah, I like a good one of the scoops, the tortilla scoops. I like those. It's funny that this list, that's in the top 5, 2 of the things, if I'm going to a Super Bowl party or having people over, 2 of the things that I make are, I don't know if I call it a buffalo chicken dip. It's more like shredded buffalo chicken that I use, and I will either use that with the tortilla scoops or a nice one of those King's Hawaiian buns. Put it on there. You get a little of the sweet and the spicy. And then the other thing that I do is a bacon-wrapped maple smoky. And it's
Bacon
delicious.
Oh, that's a little different.
Is that still in the crock pot, though?
No, I actually put them in the oven and bake them.
Wouldn't that be more pigs in the blanket, and the blanket's just different?
I think the blanket's just extra meat is I think what you're doing.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with a meat
Nothing wrong with
blanket.
that. More meat, more meat. Yeah, that's a win. Meat blankets for everybody.
At number 6 on this, again, this is clutchpoints.com, so yell at them if you don't love the fact that they've got chicken wings at 2 after pigs in a blanket. But 6 is jalapeno poppers, 7 layered taco dip, 8 meatballs, 9, they call them tater skins. You can twice bakes or whatever. At 10, mozzarella sticks. Higher or lower for mozz sticks at 10?
I'll be real honest with you. I could skip a lot of these.
Same.
I think the only one that I need to have in here is the layered taco dip. That always hits. That's always a winner. And that's something that I don't ever see the rest of the year, but I see it there. Jalapeno poppers, I mean, they're fine. They're good. They're good. You don't see them the rest of the year either. I haven't seen them as much at Super Bowl parties. The layered taco dip is always there. The 2 dips that I see most often that I'm most excited to see are some sort of a layered taco dip. I do like all the variations of the Velveeta, Rotel. Sometimes people put like ground meat or that in it too. I like that with a tortilla chip. I'm a fan of that. And then I do like an onion dip. I do like a beefy onion dip. I'm for that too. But I could do without meatballs. I've never been a meatball guy. And it feels like tater skins are a lot of work for very little reward.
So I think the second dip on here is spinach artichoke, and that makes its debut at 11. Followed by another dip, chips and guac at 12. 13's pizza. 14 is chili. 15, cocktail shrimp.
Shrimp cocktail is spectacular. I mean, that's always wins. Plus, you kind of feel like you're eating relatively healthy when you suck it down. It's there's a little bit of that to it that I think kind of wins. To me, so I think it's a shame that pizza rolls aren't on here. And I don't know if it's just my youth, but like I don't remember ever going to a Super Bowl party and there not being pizza rolls. By the way, I don't remember ever going to a Super Bowl party and there not being pizza rolls and they weren't always gone.
Yep.
Like you're going to find people. Don't give me the spinach artichoke dip in like the bread bowl. I don't need that. I don't need the presentation with it. I think a spinach artichoke dip, there's a variety that has a jalapeno in it that's better. I'm for that. Chips and guac, I think that's all in the same marriage as like nachos and salsa and the layer dip. I think that's all the same. Are you guys more are you more pizza or pizza rolls or some of that variety? You got to pick one or the other.
Me personally, I'm more of a pizza guy. I'm surprised that pizza and chili both weren't higher up on this list. But I'm more of a let's just have the pizza there rather than pizza rolls.
It does depend on the amount of people. The more people, you skew, I think, more towards pizza rolls.
Yeah. I'm a grazer. Yep. I do think like the thing with chili is that's kind of the meal. If you have that, then that's your meal. You can dip chips in that. You can put it in a bowl, suck it down however you want to do it. I tell you one thing that I always like on here, especially in the old days when I would have, that's not on this list, that I always look forward to in when you'd have a few pops and watch the Super Bowl, which I don't do anymore, but when I used to, I would always look out for like the hoagie platter, like the sub platter, like all sorts of different variety of sub. You need something to soak it up that'll kind of settle you. And so like you get me like Jersey Mike, one of the Jersey Mike's variety platters, sold. I'll take that. That's always something that I look for, and that's not on this list. Is there anything else on this list that you have to have that's not?
So the one thing I like at something like this, I like a nice meat and cheese tray. I don't know if you have to go full charcuterie, but if you have, some crackers and some cheese and pepperoni, I'm all for that.
I do think that this list skews more towards male eating habits during the Super Bowl. And to Baker's point, like a cheese tray is important because usually there are members of the opposite sex at these things. And I don't know how much they love, diving into buffalo chicken dip that everybody else has already had their grubby paws in. So I think a cheese tray makes it a little fancy. It classes it up a little bit.
This is the Roger Sterling of Super Bowl food lists. The famous line in Mad Men, what do women want? And Roger Sterling, without missing a beat, goes, who cares? That's what this list is. That's what the list is here. This is the who cares on this. We will have many of these things. We would definitely have a cheese and crackers. There will definitely be a cured meats, some version of a charcuterie board. My wife's big on like little olive things. Like she'll do that. She'll also do a veggie tray to try to convince the kids to have something healthy. There's definitely going to be a veggie tray in the mix. Those would be that'll be kind of the staples of it. But the only thing on here that I know we'll have that isn't on here, there will be some sort of a sub platter. Because you can't just, at some point you have to feel like, so that's either the sub, the pizza, or the chili. Sometime you have to feel like, all right, what's dinner? Because you're consuming dinner while all of this is, it's essentially what it is. It's your dinner. We got to get to a point where you're off the Monday that follows, by the way.
I'm hungry now.
Yeah, all that stuff sounds great. All right, coming up next, we have a contract extension for Ryan Day. We have an offensive staff that is now reportedly in place. The Ryan Day stuff is official. Ohio State has put that out. What will this era of Buckeye football have in store for us? We will get to that coming up next. Bishop and Friends, right here on The Fan.
A lot has changed in 30 years, but we're still that old shoe that feels worn in and well-loved. And, well, we smell a little, but you've accepted that. The Fan.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Right now, get $1,500 off a shower or tub replacement or $3,000 off a full bathroom remodel, plus low to no monthly payments. Call 380-225-BATH to schedule your free estimate or go to bathsareus.com. 380-225-BATH.
That's are us. When dreams don't get in, that's are us.
Get it right with help from Right Rug Flooring. Thousands of styles are in stock and ready for next day expert installation. Like carpet starting at $219 a square foot installed with pad. And luxury vinyl starts at only $399 a square foot installed. Unmatched value with 24-month financing available. Visit a showroom or schedule a free in-home estimate today. Get it right with Right Rug Flooring. Your beautiful new floor is right here, right now.
Hey, it's Anthony. I got to tell you, when you don't have the support you need, it affects everything. Feet, knees, hips, back, even your mood. I finally went to the Good Feet store, and once I was personally fitted for my arch supports, I felt a ton better. I will never wear another pair of shoes again without sliding in my personally fit Good Feet arch supports. That's because they help me eliminate my foot pain. It's such a good feeling knowing that I can be on my feet and not worrying about I'm going to wake up with low back pain or feel a weakness somewhere. I trust the Good Feet store because for more than 30 years, they've helped thousands of people just like me get back to feeling comfort on a daily basis. They take pleasure in that. And it's their personal 3-step system designed to support, balance, and strengthen your feet that guides them into their ideal position. I'm the proof. I wear them every day, even when I'm biking at the gym. So go in, take the free test walk at the Good Feet store on Polaris Parkway and on Stringtown Road in Grove City or goodfeet.com.
Menards has everything you need for your next big project. Update the lighting in your garage or workspace with our great selection of utility lighting options. The High Bay light features a 5,000 Kelvin color temperature, wet rated, and a long life over 100,000 hours, so you'll have light for whenever you need. Get the 11 inches High Bay light for $89.99. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals.
Save big money at Menards.
Much like a vampire, we need to be invited into your house. But once we're in, we never leave. Listen to The Fan on your Alexa or Google Home smart speaker. Just say play 97.1 The Fan and prepare to be amazed. Do it now.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy real estate as is fast for cash. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000. I buy vacant properties, inherited homes, divorce situations, death in the family. I even buy my tenants won't pay me the rent houses. Give us a call today for an all-cash offer at 614-470-2000, 614-470-2000.
February is Children's Dental Health Month, so make sure you make an appointment for your child to visit an Ohio Dental Association member dentist. ODA member dentists are located throughout the state and are dedicated to providing the highest quality dental care, are bound by the highest ethical standards, and have access to superior ongoing education and training. On your next visit, ask if your child's dentist is a member of the Ohio Dental Association and American Dental Association, so you know you're being treated by the best. To find an ODA dentist in your area, visit ODA.org.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
Time now to check in on that weather report. Today, looking at some sunshine this afternoon, high 47. Partly cloudy tonight, low 28. Sunshine on your Friday, high 37. A rain-snow mix expected by Saturday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Dylan Robichaud with your 10 weather impact forecast on 97.1 The Fan.
The only show where sports talk is eclipsed by food talk. Oh, nuts. Common Man and T-Bone.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
The Fan. The perfect show for quarter zips and khaki shorts. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Man, it's funny when we were having that conversation about the Super Bowl food, the great Snagglepuss, talking about subs, and he said, for years, I was always the dude who showed up with a 3-foot Anderson sub and was always the coolest dude at the party. You guys remember Anderson's in Dublin?
Yeah.
And they all went away I used to go there. They made a great sub. It was a great sub that they had.
I always thought it was weird that place would make a sub, but it was tremendous.
Well, it was just it's just a big general store.
Like Big Lots, yeah. Had everything.
They did have a great deli there.
They had a great deli. Yeah. Was it just the one? The only one I remember was the one in Dublin. I don't remember another. I think they all closed a while ago. I know that there were a bunch of them around Ohio, but I don't know if were there more in Central Ohio that I'm unaware of.
There was one in Dublin, and maybe there was one out Scarborough Road area, Bryce Mall area. There might have been one out. I know there was another one in town, and I think it was out east somewhere.
Yeah, okay.
I think it was Scarborough Road area.
Okay, yeah, I like that joint. Yeah, they don't have many more. What is the preeminent sub? If you go get a sandwich, what is the preeminent sub to go get if you want to do it like that?
Probably
for us, it's Jersey Mike's. Is the one that we usually go to.
Jimmy John's, just the variety box. Like you pick 3 subs, and they give you a bunch, and they slice them in half, and it's perfect.
Yeah. In the South, they have Publix, who crushes. Like their deli at Publix is the real one. They know what they're doing.
When we go to Florida, that's the first 2 stops. One Publix, and then the other the liquor store.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
You get those 2 things and you're set.
It's perfect.
What's your sub order there?
I don't even know if I've ever had a sub from Publix. I might have. I don't know. We just go get groceries for the week for our place. Dude. So,
well, next time you do, go get the sub because they make a great variety that are tremendous and very, very good on that side of things. Very, very good for Ryan Day. He got compensated richly. The contract extension official now from Ohio State, and Ross Bjork with a statement on it as well. It's a deal that'll take him through 2031. It is a $2+ million raise. It is a base now of 13.1 on the salary of that. It's a pretty remarkable thing to think about how fast things change when you just win all of the games. Once that happens, away you go. He has now. It does feel like there is a bit of a break now, and a clear break between. And it's been that Ryan's been here a long time, obviously, but the kind of the remnants of Urban and his operation to over the last couple. It started obviously with Knowles and Chip. I mean, that's a big part of it. But now these are coaches. When you think about the ascent of Brian Hartline, who has been, in those rooms with Ryan and then Chip for all these years, in those rooms with Kevin Wilson. Now Brian going to be the play caller. So that's something that hasn't happened before. We'll see what happens. Defensive coordinator. That's kind of the last thing we're kind of waiting on is DC. But now Ryan locked in. The thing I would tell you, when there was a lot of scuttlebutt, and we talked about it here on the program in December, that win or lose in the playoff, there was a good chance that Ryan Day was going to go to the NFL. That if there was an NFL offer, he would have taken it at that time. Now, obviously, things change. You go win a national championship, and now he's locked in. He knows what he's signing up for. The contract speaks for itself in terms of compensation, second only to Kirby Smart in terms of that. And I think what they provided in 2024 was a blueprint at the very highest level of how to do college football in this era. He has the blueprint. I think it'll be studied how they did it. Some of it was luck and happenstance, and some of it was entirely of their own making. They recruited really talented players who bought in entirely to the program. They developed them over 4 years. They, with the help of an incredibly organized collective, were able to get them and make them happy to stick around and stay. So they had this base. And then the portal allowed for them to enhance positions where they needed enhancing. And they did it. And so what I think you're going to get now is the modern college football program. This will be the model for it. And I think that's probably where you're headed. He has a lot of leeway now. There is a big ramp in terms of a leeway for mistakes here and there. You can grow on this job now if you're Brian Hartline. Whoever the defensive coordinator is, if they stay with this young approach, you can grow into that job a little bit. Obviously, the schedule's not going to allow for that. You open with Texas next year and will likely be number 1 versus number 2 in the country. But once you get through that game, you're going to have a chance to kind of wade into this season a little bit and see where you go. And with the understanding that as long as you go 10-2, you're going to make the playoff. And honestly, playing Texas in the non-conference, you might even go 9-3 and make the playoff, quite honestly. So that's kind of where you're at heading into this season. But this is, without question, these are his fingerprints. These are his decisions. And now he is as powerful as any coach in the country, except for Kirby. I mean, he's in that conversation. It's Kirby, him, who else? Sark? It's a short list of people who don't answer to many people. And that's kind of where Ryan Day does. And that's what winning a national championship gives you. It gives you that currency.
He's sandwiched between Kirby and Dabo in terms of coaching salaries, and those three are the only ones right now with a national championship in the sport. So, yeah, you talk about the highest influence, the most power. It has to include Ryan Day when you talk about Kirby Smart, Dabo, like you said, Sark. It's funny, Lincoln Riley's on is fourth, I guess now fifth on this at $10 million. And it feels like you look at a program like Ohio State and where it is, and like that's the blueprint on how to run a college program, then how to run an NFL factory. And you look at USC and you go, well, they hired Rob Ryan, so that's fun.
I don't know what, and they're usually one of the 20 most interesting that we do in the summer. We do 20 most interesting programs. The only thing that I can think with USC is they are just not organized from a collective standpoint.
And Ohio State is.
It's the only thing I can think of, that they just aren't locked in as you need to be. Maybe, who knows why? Is there the passion for USC football that there is at Ohio State? Probably not. But it just seems to me like they're just not organized on the collective front. That's got to be it, because they had mass access to players. They're not really doing it in recruiting. They're not great in the portal. I mean, where is he if he didn't have Caleb Williams to come with him the first 2 years? Where's that program right now if he didn't bring Caleb Williams with him?
Not only Caleb Williams, but, I mean, half of that Oklahoma team, it seems like, came with him. You got the
receiver out of Pitt, too, Bake.
Yeah, Addison, right? Jordan Addison?
Yeah, Jordan Addison, yeah.
And it's interesting on that side of the country, too, with Oregon. Oregon's just killing them right now. Oregon gets everybody over there, and even guys from around the country. So USC, it seems like they need to get a general manager that is on top of things really bad.
I don't know if USC can compete at the level that Ohio State is anymore, though. And I do think a large part of it has to do with the collective and the mobilization and motivation of big money boosters and donors. Because it felt like when Michigan hoists the national championship trophy, that was when Ohio State shifted things from a 10 to an 11 terms of donor mobilization and collective motivation. And it feels like it, at least here, it's still on that 11. Like, well, all right, that's how you follow this up. Now the thing becomes complete the entire season, win the Big Ten championship, and then go on a similar run through the college football playoff. And since Pete Carroll, USC's just never had that kind of influence or support in the sport.
All right, who does? Have that conversation. Name the teams that do.
I have
so you
4 or 5.
I think these are the ones I just jotted down as you were talking, because you think you're right. And we did that last year. That was the whole point of take the other arm out from behind your back. You saw your rival win a national title and you say, can't have it. Can't do it. And that got them organized, that got them locked in, and that delivered a national championship the following year. Michigan can. Notre Dame can. I think both of those programs will be able to match what Ohio State is doing going forward. In the South, I've got Texas, Georgia, Alabama. I don't have LSU. LSU does not appear to be organized in NIL. They were outbid and lost several players in the recruiting cycle, in the portal. I don't think LSU is one of them. And you know they have the passion, but they must not be as organized from an NIL perspective as the teams that they're trying to compete with. I think Texas A&M would be if they ever got the right coach. They have infinite money, and they have all of that you would need. I don't know if there's any of those other schools in SMU kind of has that. I just think it's so long before you get to the point where you are at that level. I don't know if there's the program passion, in terms of program wide, the way there is at places like this. They're not on that level. Oklahoma would seem to be. It feels like Oklahoma's got a lot of money. I just don't know if they have the right coach to kind of mobilize it, but it feels like they have a lot of money. And then Oregon. Those are the ones I jotted down. And I don't know if Oregon can be in this mix post Phil Knight. It feels like I don't know that Ducks fans are as diehard, passionate, gotta have it as Buckeye fans or Bama fans or Texas or Michigan. I don't sense that. They have a great fan base, obviously, but it's a relatively new, passionate fan base. It seems like that's the passion of one man, that Phil Knight wants to see this done, and so he's going to do everything in his power to make sure that it is. Is there anybody that I missed that you guys think should be? That has all of that can go toe-to-toe with Ohio State?
No.
Other than those?
Did you mention Auburn, and do they have the capability of doing it?
I don't think they have the finances. Tennessee would. Tennessee would have the passion, and they would have the financial ability to be able to do it. Florida's probably the only Florida school, and they don't have the financial might. Yeah, it's a short list. You start having that conversation. So Ryan Day's 7-year contract keeps him with Ohio State through 2031. At least that's the intent. He will have a chance to be as successful as anyone who's ever coached here. He will have a chance to be as decorated as anyone since Woody. All of that's in play now with this extension that keeps him in the fold for a very, very long time. The Jackets back on home ice tonight, hosting the Utah Hockey Club. Porty going to join us in 2 minutes. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
Dell Technologies is celebrating with anniversary savings on their most popular tech. For a limited time only, save on select next-gen PCs like the XPS 16, powered by Intel Core Ultra processors and more. Plus, curate your dream setup with great deals on select monitors, mice, and more must-have electronics and accessories. When you shop online at Dell.com/deals, you'll have access to leading-edge technology to match your forward-thinking spirit and free shipping on everything. Again, that's Dell.com/deals.
Some things you wouldn't mind being stuck with, like a huge inheritance. But a phone that has to be plugged in just right so it charges is not one of those things. Switch to Verizon and we'll pay off your old phone up to $800 via prepaid MasterCard for a new one on us. Just trade in any phone from our top brands with select unlimited plans. $829.99 purchase with new smartphone line on select unlimited plans. Minimum $90 per month with auto pay plus taxes and fees for 36 months required. Less $830 trade-in/promo credit applied over 36 months. Trade-in terms apply. Payoff phone requires smartphone purchase and port-in with new smartphone line on select plan. Must provide most recent bill showing payoff amount of eligible phone. Additional terms apply.
Hey, it's Bobby Carpenter. And everybody's had these pains, these little nicks, these things that you maybe had an injury when you were younger and you thought it went away. And then all of a sudden, as you get older, it starts to creep back. Doing everything, walking up the stairs, doing your favorite activities, golf, skiing, whatever it might be, the summer, the spring, the winter, it hurts. Hey, do not deal with it any longer. the hip, the knee, the shoulder, the back, whatever it is, there's good news. Go to QC Kinetics. Their groundbreaking treatments for that arthritis pain, they're going to make you feel better. The long-term relief, it's now possible. They're right here in Columbus under the leadership of Dr. Ray Tesner, founder of Grant Sport Medicine and a classically trained orthopedic surgeon. Don't wait. Make the call today. My dad and I did. His knee's starting to feel better. My knee feels better. They've got PRP treatments. They can change your life. I'm telling you right now. So go to qckinetics.com/Columbus for your free consultation or give them a call at 380-208-4544. It's not going to go away on its own. They've got 2 offices in Dublin and Gahanna, so check them out.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. They'll offer betting advice, but don't bet on it being good. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
All right, Jackets back at home tonight after a roadie. Utah Hockey Club on the slate. We head out on the Brian Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Conversation with a great friend of the program, Aaron Portzline. He joins us there. Porty, thanks for the time, buddy. Before we get into the hockey, what is your on a Super Bowl spread? What is the one thing that has to be there for you, or else it's a fail?
Man, that's a big question.
That's right.
I have changed habits in recent years. I'm a dip guy for sure.
Yep.
I don't know, spinach and artichoke dip. There's that classic bean dip with taco and cheese and stuff. Yeah, I think all of it. Because you don't feel guilty, I don't think, loading up a plate with, it's just a bunch of appetizers, even though it's about 4,000 calories. It doesn't feel like a full meal necessarily.
That's right.
Guilt is an issue.
You nailed it. It's because it's a bunch of little bites. How bad possibly could it be? It's just a bunch of little bites. There's nothing to see here.
I snacked a little at the party today. Yeah.
That's all that is. All right. We had a lot going on this road trip. Some injury stuff. Let's start with Marchenko. You were all over the reporting on that. What is their sense of a timetable for him?
Yeah, well, they've not released one, but I've spoken to doctors familiar with these injuries, and everyone's a little bit different. I don't know the full extent of it. It does not need to be wired shut. That's considered a good thing, both in terms of a quicker timeline, but also in terms of him being able to eat food, soft food anyway, sooner than it would be if it were wired shut. I mean, basically when it's wired, everything's coming through a straw.
Yeah.
So that will help. And, there's always the concern that a guy's going to lose a lot of weight and a lot of muscle in those weeks when he's off. I don't think that's as big a concern with this. There's a chance he could be back maybe, a month rather than 6 to 8 weeks. But they have not said that timeline. That's just me saying what I've heard based upon other injuries that would match.
Porty, such a freak accident. I mean, he's sitting, it's just a crazy thing. Is it something that the NHL then thinks hey, we ought to do something about this? Could they do anything? I suppose they could put the glass even up there and have doors for them to go in and out of, but I don't know that the players want that. Is there anything to prevent this?
I mean, I don't think so. I've heard people say, you got to pay attention. These are people who clearly have never been on the bench or seen how fast the puck moves. There's no getting out of the way. No. I mean, some guys can, but it's going to find somebody. I remember the second game in Blue Jackets history, Dave King took a puck to the forehead, the coach, on the bench. And, of course, he finished the period with blood running down his face and a towel held to his forehead. These things do happen. I mean, you could put glass there, but that completely changes on the fly, right?
Absolutely.
Like some guys go through the gate, some guys go over the board, but you'd have an in and out door, and there'd be quite a traffic jam with trying to get guys off the ice. To me, I don't see what the league can do, frankly.
I think you're probably right. Where are we with Zach?
Look, he's leaning toward playing. He took line rushes this morning, which is usually a good sign. I think the only thing that would keep him out is if he said, if he feels good coming out of his nap, he's going to play. I mean, if it, for whatever reason, doesn't feel as good later today as it does now, maybe there's a change in plans, but my sense is he's playing.
What we know the guys that are out then, and obviously now the Marchenko part of it is a real one. In terms of reinforcements returning, where are we with that?
So Boone Jenner, it looks like if he's not ready, he's very close. He will be back on the other side of Four Nations. That is the expectation.
Okay.
Right. So you're looking at probably mid-March for. Geez, I have a hard time keeping them all straight, but probably mid to late March for Monahan and Goodbranson.
Okay.
The real question mark is Chinakhov. Back injury, it's a pain tolerance issue. Does it reach a point where he feels like he can play? He's come out for a couple of practices and left early, so not there yet. I think that's probably the hardest one to sort of peg as a return is Chinakhov, who is obviously a pretty important player to the mix here. Fabro is a question mark as well. Believe he is concussed, took an elbow to the face in Dallas. So yeah, they've got a bunch of bumps and bruises. These may be the trade deadline acquisitions, right? With Jenner coming back in late February and the other guys coming aboard in mid to late March.
How does this Four Nations thing shake up the trade deadline?
Well, you've seen some teams get out in front of it here.
Yeah.
And I think Don Waddell, the Blue Jackets GM, has had conversations. He's in an interesting spot, though, where they're not going to do rentals. Like, they're not going to give up any part of their future for a 1-month fix before Monahan gets back. There was a lot of talk about Elias Pettersson of Vancouver. I don't think that was ever a consideration on Columbus's part. I think a lot of people in Vancouver and other places wanted it to be a consideration on Columbus's part. Just didn't make a lot of sense with Monahan signed with. I mean, I don't think people fully grasp what 20-year-old Adam Fantilli is doing as right now a number one center in Monahan's spot, but as a number two when Monahan was healthy. He's having a really, really good year for a 20-year-old. They've got 21-year-old Cole Sillinger behind him. At some point, they hope Caden Lindstrom's going to be up and playing. He's a big centerman as well. Elias Pettersson makes them better short-term for sure, but I think, and I believe they agree, there's better ways that they can spend $11.5 million. There's roster areas on this team that could need the help more than center, which is not something we've said in Columbus, Ohio very often.
No, they've never had this down the middle. Not like this.
Exactly.
No, this is everything that everybody's always wanted. All Jacket fans have wanted this forever, and you're finally getting a little taste of that. What do you make of this Four Nations thing? I don't, I'm not on the beat certainly. Is this obviously this is an olive branch to players who they wanted the Olympics and all of that. If you are a guy who's battling injuries and nicked up, and you're in this thing, do you draw in for it, or do you think there will be some guys who sit it out?
Well, there will be some guys who sit it out. There have already been guys who have backed out. Petrangelo in Vegas has said he's not playing. He's going to take the time to rest. Werenski said it today that is obviously his primary focus is on the Blue Jackets. This means so much to him. The Four Nations does this. Moves him into a different stratosphere. This is a different frontier for Werenski in his career. But he's not going if it's an injury that's not going to get better by itself. If he needs the rest, I believe he would take the rest. He said as much today. It's a balancing act. It really is. I remember when these mid-season breaks started, there were lots of GMs or owners, more than GMs, who were really irate that guys were going to be, as they would say, sitting on a beach and collecting paychecks in the middle of the season. They didn't like stopping. This is getting them ready for an Olympic break, which is going to happen again next year. But yeah, it's a weird spot, and the league is not handling this as they have the All-Star game, where in years past, if guys bailed from the All-Star game, they wanted them to miss a game either before the All-Star break or after the All-Star break, and that was just an encouragement for them to not duck the game just to take a break.
Porty, do you you a month you got the Four Nations and then early March. You talked about teams getting in front of it. How important do you think it is for the people who matter most? I'm talking about Don Waddell, Dean Evison, those guys. How important is it for them for this team to chase postseason play? or because this has already been with everything. This has already been just everything that you'd want this team to. My highest expectations have been met from my vantage point. So then, how do you turn the page and be like, oh, that would be pretty cool too, but not at the risk of anything long term?
Right, and I think that's Don Waddell's concern more than Dean Evason's. Dean Evason's concern is winning every freaking game and trying to max this thing out. I don't think he ever came into this season as we did, saying, geez, if the young guys look good, that's going to be enough, that the playoffs are a pipe dream. He's not wired that way. That's a good thing for a coach. But listen, it's going to come fast and furious here on the other side of this trade deadline, because up really quick is the outdoor game, and then up really quick after that is the trade deadline. Basically, I think you have the knowledge, if you're Don Waddell, you know where this team is based upon what they've shown you through 54, 55 games. Help them a little bit, but I think a lot of these guys coming back from injury is going to be the boost that they need. The other thing, too, is they want these guys. That's what this season is. You can't lose sight of that. They want Fantilli. If they make the playoffs, they want him to get a taste of that. They want Kent Johnson to get a taste of that. Sillinger, all these young guys who are really blooming before our eyes. That is an incredible boost of experience they can get by just seeing what the postseason looks like. And who knows? Who knows what happens? We've seen that before in Columbus.
No, absolutely. You're the best, buddy. Thank you for your time. Greatly appreciate you and your work.
Well, thank you. Anytime, guys. Pleasure to be with you.
All right, that's the great Aaron Portzline joining us on the Bryan Heating Cooling Systems fan guest hotline. Jackets and Utah Hockey Club tonight at 7 o'clock is the puck drop for that one. Three things on a Thursday up next. Bishop and Friends right here on the Fan.
If better health, more energy, and detoxing your body are some of your priorities this year, get Active Liver today. You can find Active Liver at your local CVS or online at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
This Buckeye Football Impact Report is brought to you locally by Credit Union of Ohio and by Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse. On the Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
Ohio State football Impact Report.
One of the biggest tasks for Ohio State coach Ryan Day now filling coaching positionings, both coordinators and an offensive line opening. He talks about how he'll approach that.
You know, what you're doing is you want to keep continuity. That's important. And what we've done on offense, you know, really over the last 6 to 8 years is keep that continuity in place. And so I feel really good about the guys that we have in that room. You know, some of the work that they put in this season, certainly Chip and Justin had a huge hand in all of it. So, you know, we'll look to replace those guys. But, you know, when you win like we do, you know, and these guys, you know, have an opportunity to go help themselves out. And, you know, I feel like, you know, and their families, and I feel like, you know, they're some of the best there are in the world, and they have these opportunities. And so I'm happy for them and for their families that they have a chance to do that. But I feel really good about the guys that we have coming back, and it's a very attractive positions. So we're able to go attract the best in the world.
This report brought to you by Safe Light Auto Glass on the Ohio State Sports Network from Learfield. Hi, this is Paul Keels. This Buckeye season, don't let a broken windshield ruin your game plan. Safe Light Auto Glass makes it easy to get your windshield fixed with their mobile glass shops all over Central Ohio. They can come to you anywhere, giving Buckeye fans more time for game time. OH? Man, I love that. Schedule at SafeLight.com. Safe Light Auto Glass is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
Safe Light Repair, Safe Light Replace.
Libman makes a difference. The Libman Mop Crew is a part of our winning team. The Libman Mop Crew makes sure the hardwood is safe and clean for the players every game at the Schottenstein Center. No matter what kind of flooring you have at your home court, Libman has the tools to keep it clean. Our mops, brooms, and brushes are proudly family made in the USA. Visit Libman.com to see our whole lineup and for a store locator. That's Libman.com. Libman, proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics.
I used to love shooting hoops with my dad, who taught me great lessons beyond the game. He was the one who helped me open my first bank account. He told me, credit unions take care of you like a teammate and often have the best rates. That's why I've been a Credit Union of Ohio member for 40 plus years.
Make life more affordable at Credit Union of Ohio. With great rates on savings and loans, Credit Union of Ohio has been trusted by families for generations. Visit cuofohio.org to join today. That's cuofohio.org. Federally insured by NCUA Equal Housing Lender.
For more than 35 years, Hyde Park Prime Steakhouse has been known by Buckeye Nation as serving the best steaks in the city. Our thick-cut, aged steaks have been a staple in Columbus with 3 locations in Upper Arlington, Dublin, and downtown. Hyde Park is proud to introduce our newly added wine room at the downtown Columbus location, where a new elegance in dining will surround you. And coupled with live entertainment every weekend, Hyde Park will be the perfect setting for any occasion or the perfect night out. Hyde Park is a proud sponsor of Ohio State Athletics. Go Bucks!
Men, this is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health. And you've heard me talk a lot about how treating low testosterone can improve your sleep, your workouts, your energy levels, and more. But today I want to talk to you about your sex drive, because low testosterone can have a significant impact on your desire for intimacy. It can even be a factor in erectile dysfunction. And if you're in a relationship or wanting to be in a relationship, a low sex drive could really be a problem. The good news is that if you're like most guys, treating your low testosterone could really change the way you feel about sex, giving you back the flame and desire that is so important when you love someone. So if you're feeling sluggish and tired, if you're not sleeping well, if your workouts aren't that great, and most of all, if your sex drive is more like a putt, make an appointment at Tri-State Men's Health and have your testosterone levels checked. Your initial visit is only $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on testosterone the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com. We have 6 offices across the tri-state area to serve you.
Bishop and Friends is sponsored by Diamond Seller, your true jeweler for over 75 years. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Sports conversation that's worthy of a toast, or at least a stiff drink. You're listening to Bishop and Friends.
Indeed you are. Our good buddies, Rothman and Ice, they're up in 15 minutes. They're going to get you ready, certainly, for the big game, and this is something you're going to want to pay attention to. They're going to talk to Denzel Ward at 1 o'clock. That will be fascinating stuff. It's Rothman and Ice live from Radio Row. It's presented by Low T Center. Low T Center, reinventing men's health care. So you have that to look forward to, which is nice. Reese, what do we have on the poll today, buddy?
The Daily Fan poll asks what will happen in tonight's basketball hockey doubleheader. You've got the Buckeyes hosting
this one.
Got the Buckeyes hosting Maryland. You got the Jackets hosting the Hockey Club. 45% of respondents to the Daily Fan poll say both teams are going to come out with wins. 32% say the Jackets are going to win, but the Buckeyes are going to lose to the Terrapins. 13% say they're both going to lose. And then 9% say Ohio State's going to beat Maryland, while the Jackets will lose to the Utah Hockey Club.
I feel most confident about the Blue Jackets. I think we're going to get a sweep.
Yes.
I think both will win. I think they'll handle their business, and both of the teams will end up winning tonight. It's rare where they're both on at 7. It's rare that they're both on at 7, and I don't have youth basketball duties, so I'll be able to double screen this thing and be able to watch them both. So I look forward to that. Both done by 9 o'clock. Your Uncle Bo could go to sleep at a decent hour. That's a win, too. So we'll take all of those things. Dubs across the boards, kids. All right, time for 3 things on a Thursday. Hit it.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3 things.
Sponsored by Custom Air. Custom Air. Custom Solutions. Custom Comfort.
Number 1 for me, I'll tell you what. Ohio weather will make you question a lot. I think my least favorite Ohio weather is March cold rain slop. That's my least favorite. I can sign up for the rest of it. I understand it's going to be, I know where I live. I choose to live here. I'm aware that it's going to be cold in the winter. I will say that what I experienced this morning is close, which is ice rain and ice everywhere. When Buddy Garrett went out this morning, he was on skates, and that's rare for a dog to hardly be able to stand. My guy tore off going to the bathroom and fell straight on his schnoz. Furthermore, to make matters worse, and we're fortunate, my wife doesn't work, and so we're fortunate in this regard. We got the notification that the boys' school was canceled at 6:03. Like, that's late in the game to cancel off school. Needless to say, they were thrilled about the notion of no school today because of the ice. My guess is the buses just couldn't handle it. And I understand it. Like,
can't handle the roads.
Brutal. Yeah, I mean, it was brutal this morning. Absolutely. So I get it, but I've never seen a cancellation that late into the morning. So I understand it, but it was that was late. Like, if you have working parents, that's a tough spot to be able to handle all of that.
First thing for me, I had never thought about purchasing a Ring doorbell camera until today. As I was leaving my residence, I've got about 6 narrow wood steps in front of my door, followed by 10 concrete steps. and my ass hit almost all of them. As soon as my foot, like my right foot, left the front porch, it was a yard sale. And I thought about it. I'm like, boy, and I texted a couple of I was like, do you have a Ring camera? Is there footage of this? And I'm like, maybe I just need to get that, because that yard sale, I haven't done anything like that in a while. So I stood for a lot of the show. Yeah, it hurt.
Jeez. Well, the ice was real. It was a real one today.
Well, and I will say this, Reese and Buddy Garrett are not the only ones that bit it this morning, because I was out salting and trying to get rid of the ice, and I was kind of on an area where there was grass and rock, which was also icy, but I stepped up onto the corner of where concrete was, and my feet went up in the air and my ass went straight down, and when I hit kind of on my elbow, and I initially thought, oh, that kind of sucks. I was more angry that maybe I dirtied up my clothes because I was already in the clothes that I was coming into today. But as we've been doing the show, I start to feel things in my back and my hip, and I'm like, man, this sucks the worse you are, the older you get. It definitely gets worse.
I mean, you think about it. We get to a point where, as a little kid, you fall and then you pop right back up. And then inevitably we get to a point where we're so old that when we fall, we die. Like that's how it can end. You slip on a step and you die.
I'm
that's
dreading tomorrow.
Full circle.
I invented swear words this morning.
Yeah, two. Number 2 for me. I love my sons with all my heart. I would never do anything in terms of physical harm to them. Certainly not intended, with one exception. NBC, 13-year-old, is doing this thing where, and I don't know if you guys have heard this, but the kids are doing this now. And what they do is they go, good boy. And so the reference point would be like, I go out this morning and he's like, always wants to think he wants to like rough me up. So I put a quick end to that, as any father should to a kid at that age. You challenge the old bull, you're going to get the horns. So then I hurt him. I kind of wrestle him a little bit, and then I walk away and we're laughing. He goes, good boy, walk away, good boy. I turned around and I said, dude, not again. That will, I brought you here, buddy. I can end it. That's where I'm at. There is something about the way they say it that makes me just want to punch him. I love him to death. Makes me want to punch him right in the face. I cannot stand that thing. And they're all doing it. Good boy. It's awful.
Feels
they
like
couldn't suck anymore. Right
eventually that'll catch up with them, but if they're all doing it, who knows when that is. I forgot. Gross. Because of this extended football season, I was thinking about this yesterday, where I'm still trying to get back my days of the week, because and this is still the beginning of the year. I'm still writing 2024 on things. I'm forgetting that it's the golf season, because the Waste Management Phoenix Open starts today.
Yeah.
And I'd forgotten last year's debacle, and I thought somewhere that they were going to curb alcohol sales, but no, these guys say they're going to do everything pretty much the same as last year. So best of luck, everybody.
It's amazing. It's the one golf tournament I need to go to before my life is over.
You guys seeing some of these images already from out there?
No.
They're right. Here's a fat guy rolling down a side of the side of the fairway without his shirt on.
Looking Speeds 2 back of the lead
in the morning.
It's like Happy Gilmore came to life all of a sudden. We tried to play this earlier, and we had some issues. Bo read the quote for you, but I think this is good enough that you need to hear it. Here's Rob Ryan from earlier in the show.
Watch where we finish this year. This guy is special. He's special. He knows how to get it done. He's a great communicator, great teacher. He's fun to be around. He makes everybody better, including the coaches. And, we'll see. I'm looking forward for the, spring ball or whatever. I can't wait. We're going to go against the best. Oh, good. Bring it on. Let's see. I can't wait to see that little JUCO kid from Hutch. Bam! We're going to get after his little butt. But anyway, it'll be great. We're excited.
And there may be more from this press conference to come on the show tomorrow.
Am I wrong? Doesn't it sound... I mean, I don't know what's going... It doesn't seem like... There's a line in Young Guns.
A serious operation wouldn't sound like that, I'll just say.
No. There's a line in Young Guns where he ain't all there, is he? And that's kind of what it seems like. Number 3 for me, finally. I just got the basketball schedule for this weekend, and it's like NBC plays at 8 a.m. in his tournament. Bootsy at 10 and 12, 45 minutes away. Beamsy at 4 and 6. And then, depending on what happens on Saturday, very likely we'll play at 8 a.m. both of the Littles Sunday morning. Like, the idea that I'm not going to sleep in for 2 weeks really sucks.
Thoughts and prayers.
I need them.
Final thing for me, I had said earlier in the show that I didn't expect the Cavaliers to be moving or doing anything come the 3 o'clock deadline today. This from Mark Stein. Cavaliers have indeed ramped up their interest and background work on Atlanta's DeAndre Hunter, making them a fascinating deadline day watch. So Hunter, 6'8", forward, had a 22-point double-double last night for the Atlanta Hawks. Okay. Like, if that's going to be the ad that the Cavaliers think's going to push them, hopefully defensively against a team like Boston, you add Isaac Okoro back to the lineup. Sure. Just don't do anything that moves off of anybody they've got currently.
Yeah, I don't think they will.
Last one real quick for me. Pray for Reese and I that we can get out of bed in the morning after these falls.
Best of luck, boys. Fine. Rothman and Ice from the Super Bowl coming up next. We're back tomorrow. Bishop and Friends right here on The Fan.
If you're starting your day any other way, you're doing it wrong. Morning Juice with Bobby and Beamer.
Weekdays starting at 6.
The Fan. This is a Fan Action Update.
Big night for playoff and tournament hopes in Columbus. The Blue Jackets are at home taking on Utah and are plus 130 underdogs on the money line. Ohio State basketball also at home at 7, and they are a small minus 150 favorite on the money line. Let's get some wins tonight for the good guys. For your action update, I'm Scotty Vegas.
At NJM Insurance, we like to think of ourselves as a symphony. We start with a foundation of doing the right thing. Then we layer in dedicated reps whose priority is you. Add in excellent discount programs. And last, but certainly not least, we put our policyholders first. And the reason we don't use jingles or mascots is because it's just not us. No jingles or mascots, just great insurance. NJM. Insurance underwritten by NJM Insurance Company and its subsidiaries.
I'm an old school Joe, and my philosophy is real simple and effective. It's not what you win or lose, it's what you save. And betting reduced juice at Prime Sports Ohio is the way to save money on every single bet. Download the Prime Sports Ohio app or visit our website, primesportsbook.com. Use promo code JUSTSPORTS. Get a welcome bonus up to $100 and be a member of the Prime Sports family.
Terms and conditions apply. Visit website for details. Must be 21 or older and present in Ohio. If you or anyone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER.
No matter where you are, Coughlin is there, in store or online. CoughlinCars.com. 13 new car brands, over 1,000 pre-owned vehicles, 16 convenient locations for sales, service, and parts, plus 4 state-of-the-art collision centers. CoughlinCars.com. Shop locally owned, CoughlinCars.com.
Coughlin has the car for you. Care Heating and Cooling. When you need a company you can trust, call 1-800-COOLING.
Come cheer on the Ohio State Buckeyes men's basketball team as they take on the Maryland Terrapins at the Shot on February 6th. Don't miss out on themed games, unforgettable fan experiences, and the ultimate Buckeye traditions. Buy your tickets now at ohiostatebuckeyes.com.
If you're 55 and up, T-Mobile has plans built just for you. 2 lines of unlimited for just $30 a line. That's a 45% savings compared to Verizon and AT&T. But don't just take our word for it.
It's not just the savings that are great with our T-Mobile plan. There's all this value from all these other things that T-Mobile offers.
T-Mobile has been such a savings for us.
We love it.
Switch today and get 2 free 5G phones like the Motorola Edge with Turbo Power charging that gives you power for the day in just 15 minutes. And customers 55 and up can get 2 lines of talk, text, and data for only $30 a line. Go to T-Mobile.com/choice55 to learn more. With AutoPay plus taxes and fees, plus $5 per line without AutoPay. Debit or bank account required. 45% off 2 lines versus AT&T Starter and Verizon Welcome. Plan benefits vary. Motorola Edge on us with 24 monthly bill credits and new line for well-qualified customers, plus tax and $35 per line connection charge. See details at T-Mobile.com. Motorola Edge requires 68-watt charger. Charger sold separately. Actual performance will vary based on usage and configuration.
Get ready for
for the big game with fan favorites like buy one, get one free extra large avocados. Plus, buy 5, save $5 deals when you mix or match other go-to items like assorted varieties of DiGiorno frozen pizza, 24 packs of Coca-Cola or Pepsi products plus deposit where applicable, and Sweet Baby Ray's marinade or sauce. Shopping at Meijer makes game day a good deal better. Exclusions apply. See all deals in-store or in the Meijer app.